pretty much my biggest hype. Thought it looked
The
sick.
giant
Yeah,
fire Wicker
the
Man looking
giant
thing.
fire. Nicolas
I've seen a
Cage.
lot of people. I've seen a lot of people, comparing it to the Wicker Man from Celtic lore, and I think that's pretty spot on because they also have a reference to the Wicker Man in Berserk, which everybody
Hmm.
knows. They take a lot of inspiration from Berserk.
I would love to fight a giant wasp in Elden
Oh,
Ring.
is that
Ooh,
Michaela?
are you talking about the red-haired guy?
Yeah.
It's Mesmer, Mesmer or Mesmer, the Impaler.
He's mesmerizing.
The fact that
It's
you can
very
use
true.
your feet and do like kickboxing, that looks pretty cool.
Yes, I'm wondering if that is an Ash of War or if it's something similar to the Dragon Bone Fist from I think
Or
that's
maybe
what it was called from Dark Souls 2.
or maybe they implemented like a new weapon style.
No, yeah. Well, they said that they've added 8 new weapon types, which is a lot because they already had so many. And so the fact that they're adding 8 brand new ones is kind of really impressive.
I'm
Uh,
seeing a lot of Bloodborne like stuff.
the
That's
the
cool.
dancing dragon type thing that I called a beast. I see why you said it wasn't a beast because yeah, it's really not. But it definitely looks like it's going to be really interesting.
It looks like it's from the guys from Ludwig, Ludwig from Bloodborne.
Hmm.
I think that's kind of what it reminds me of. And then, yeah, no, that was. It looks like they're diving back into their Bloodborne vibe.
All right, well, let's dive into the first topic. I'll go first. What builds are you guys going to go in with?
I just started a new character like 2 days ago, and I'm planning on making it basically a carbon copy of my OG original build because I want to go through the DLC with that build because it's the first build I completed the game with, but I already took my OG character into New Game Plus, and I am not going to go through the DLC for the first time in New Game Plus.
Yeah, it
Just
definitely
not going to do
definitely seems to be a common mistake people make whenever a DLC comes out. That's something I've heard every single time a DLC comes out.
it.
It's
Hmm.
like, oh, I regret going to New Game Plus.
Bloodborne was really bad for it.
Yeah,
I mean,
that
I
might.
think we're gonna cost on New Game Plus, so, but that
Say
might be
again.
why Lawrence was such a bitch for me.
Oh yes.
Well, the Bloodborne DLC is so incredibly scaled high in general, just even
Yeah,
on regular.
especially for when you can access it.
Yeah.
At least with this, you're gonna with this DLC, you're gonna have to be late game. I mean, because if you're beating Moog before in game, well, then you're probably not gonna have to worry about it anyway because he's not a joke.
Hmm. Yeah, I need to mess around with him later. What about you, Alex?
Yeah.
I never relied on that trick against Moog. I
Yeah.
just powered through with my flasks.
Yeah, that's definitely doable.
I'm just getting drunk. Fuck you. Beat your ass.
Just keep chugging that sweet Estus soup.
That sweet essence. God's nectar.
What build did you say you're going in with, Alex?
Probably arcane.
Arcane.
Yeah, because it's a very like unique thing in the FromSoft, you know, uh, what do you call it? The FromSoft games series. There you go. I just found that arcane was very different, and I like blood magic. Like whenever I pick like anything, like I didn't really get into World of Warcraft all that much, but when I played it for like a couple, like I think I played it for like one day, but I played a blood elf. Like it just seems to be the thing that attracts me the most. Which
Okay.
is also why I really got into Bloodborne because a lot of that was kind of blood magic, like the Ryuki, whatever the the swords
Are you
basically
talking
whatever.
about Lady Maria's sword?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's all blood magic, you know, and that was pretty cool. I mean, I got into the circular saw probably the most, but
That
or
was a good one. Whirligig.
yeah, the whirligig saw, and then I got pretty into like my first playthrough, which I failed miserably at like getting like understanding anything that was going on in Bloodborne. I just was like chugging through it, didn't realize like, oh, I missed like 10 fucking bosses. And like all of this backstory and shit like that. So on my
There's
second
a
play,
fair amount of optional bosses in Bloodborne, if I remember correctly.
and I didn't fight the last boss. I beat the first hunter, but I didn't beat the Moon Essence. That's what his name is.
Yeah, because you have to do certain things.
It's
I
easy.
mean, this playthrough, I all of the parameters covered, so now I'm able to. But then I just kind of lost interest in playing.
It's really easy to miss Dark Beast Parl.
Yeah.
It's such a cool boss, but he's just so tucked away that you kind of just pass by him, and then you're like, "Oh shoot, I forgot about that guy," and then they end up being overpowered.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I hated both variants of that boss. I was just like, I can't keep my camera on him. It's just so like massive, like moves too fast and is so massive that you can't lock on.
Both variants. Am I missing a variant?
You got Dark Pearl Beast, and then you got the one in the Chalice dungeon.
Oh, there's one in Chalice Dungeon. I don't think I
10
ever.
times.
I don't think I've ever fought that one.
Yeah, there's also another Ebrietas, the Cosmo Queen. There's
Mm-hmm.
another variant of her, which
There's
is
another Amygdala.
Yeah, I love that one.
and then there's the final Chalice dungeon boss that is only is its own boss and
Yeah,
it's
the Queen Yarnum.
Right.
yeah that one.
Yeah. We all platinum Bloodborne. We know what's up.
That was the last. That was the last trophy I needed to get the platinum was to beat her.
I think that was mine also.
I think the dog
So,
was pretty cool.
the Watchdog of I think did they call it the Watchdog of Farron or something like
Yeah,
that or Farron's Watchdog?
that's Dark Souls 3 though.
Uh,
Yeah.
Baron Keep is Dark Souls 3.
Watchdog.
Yeah.
Something. I love that boss, by the way, because his moveset is just really interesting and made the way he telegraphs his attacks, and you get to find him from the front. And he's very punishing, especially his charge attack.
It reminds me a lot of the zombie gators from DS3. You know what I'm talking about?
Zombie gators.
You know, yeah, the giant looking gator
Oh,
monster that
yeah.
appears behind you when you
That
first walk into Irithyll.
that thrilling run on the bridge.
Yeah.
That still gets me.
And then when you get into Anne Orlando and you drop down that ladder and behind that illusory wall, and there's two of them down there. Oh gosh.
Yeah, so that's the equivalent of the two sharks that you find in that fucking.
Oh yeah, at the bottom of the well.
Yeah.
That's a tough thing. That encounter is tougher than a lot of the bosses.
I cheesed it for sure, like because I got
It's
stuck down there
possible.
too many runes, and I was like, I am going to use everything that isn't direct attack.
Well, how about that one
Mm-hmm.
spot in Elden Ring at the very beginning? Once you get the two, stone keys, and it's one of the it's a fairly good talisman across the bridge, and right when you're in the middle of the bridge, Grat Sound lands in front of you, and there's also one behind you.
Is that first one? That first thing you use the stone sword key on as soon as you start the game?
Correct. It's where you have to walk through some poison.
I actually haven't done that one.
Oh, yeah. There's actually a
And
boss in there.
yeah, it's a tree. It's a seed beast, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just one of those. Looks like a puss of
Yeah.
man, like from Dark Souls
Yeah.
3, but bigger.
Yeah.
Made
Those
my
things are gnarly.
because I told him not to go outside. I'm like, just keep going deeper into the like the very first dungeon. Like, just keep going deeper. Like, all right, and then all of a sudden, he's fighting the ulcerated tree demon. Like before he even like sees outside, like,
That thing is scary. That thing is gnarly.
So he got good at it, but he couldn't beat it. And then like the next day, I told him like, that's not actually the direction you're supposed to go. I'm like, I'm just an asshole apparently.
So, what weapons are we entering the DLC with?
DLC weapons.
DLC weapons.
Yep.
Just we'll automatically have the DLC
Do,
weapons.
and I'd be like, that's it. That's what I'm using right there. If it's dexterity and arcane, I'm using it.
But what are you gonna use? What are you gonna be using as when you first get there?
Well, so I'm gonna. Well, actually, I did start my new game plus finally. I haven't really like dived too much into it, but I have been like switching over to like strength.
Okay.
I was planning on when I got back to what's her face, the one who respects you. It's gonna change all my stats over.
Renala.
Yeah, I was gonna change all my stats over to strength, but
Is there many blood based strength weapons or arcane based strength weapons?
just one.
Yeah.
I
Which
like
one is it?
dexterity blood. Oh, it's that fucking giant great sword that you get from the Briar
Oh,
Spell bearing dude.
yeah. Yeah.
It's a dope weapon, and I like
Yeah.
using it. And if you got like a slow enemy, you can do mass amounts of damage with his.
With that weapon art.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Where you
that's
throw the blade kind of or the
yeah. You like
yeah.
throw it forward, and it like
Yeah.
spins, and then comes
Yeah.
back. Like, I'm like, what a fucking sick weapon.
Yeah, because I remember you were using the bloody helices for a while.
I still use them, but like I played the entire game with them.
Yeah.
So like I like towards the end, right? Like I got to the Elden Beast, I was having a difficult time, and I'm like thinking, well, oh wait, no, I beat the Elden Beast, and then I realized that I could still like go around, so I figured I would gather up all of my uh what's the weapon upgrade material.
The somber smithing stones.
So I gathered as many of those as I could find, and then I upgraded weapons for different stats. So that way, when I go into my new game plus, I could like, okay, I'm gonna switch to strength, or I'm gonna switch to magic, or
Yeah.
something like that. So I upgraded those. I also have two weapons that I like wish they would like how when I have the two bloody helices, like they add moves that complement, like they work together, like you're stabbing with both of them and stuff like that. And like how other weapons, like if you have the same weapon type, like it'll combine their attacks, like it'll become its own move set. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I have these two rapiers, but they're apparently like I think one's a curved sword, considering, but I have a poison one and I have a scarlet rot one, and I thought that would just be like the stupidest fucking like just piss people off, Now you got poison, you got scarlet rot, and
A lot of people use a combination of frost buildup and bleed buildup, and that can be pretty devastating.
I don't know. Every game I play, like I kind of dive into that rogue
Yeah.
class, Like I like archery.
Hmm.
Uh,
They're adding new bows. I think they're adding new ranged weapons in the DLC for sure.
wanted to do a whole playthrough using only ranged weapons, and then if I
That would
had
be interesting.
yeah, and then if I had to rely on it, like go the Legolas route and like do daggers for close range, and then bows for the rest.
Something happened to me. Now that you bring that up, because how Legolas, he would like, you ever notice how he would use his arrows when they would get too close? He would hold the arrows in his hand like a dagger and stab them with the arrows. An enemy of just a basic enemy in Stormvale Castle did that to me. He was an archer, and I got really close, and he just stabbed me with the arrow. I was like, "Whoa, I've never seen that.
Hmm.
That's really cool."
I don't. In Elden Ring?
Yeah,
No, I don't. I haven't seen that yet.
I hadn't seen that either. It took me by surprise.
I looked up all the things that I missed in my playthrough. It was overwhelming. It was like,
Imagine what the
See,
DLC will bring.
see, I didn't miss anything. I spent. I could probably look up how. Yeah, I can look it up. Actually, I can see it right now. I got the platinum. The game came out February 25th. I got the platinum March 22nd. So less than a month. I didn't miss anything. Uh, yeah.
like platinum a game to me is such a fucking slog. There's always one achievement
A lot of times it is.
Yeah, there's always just the 1 or 2 achievements that are just fucking just monotonous, and you're just sitting there like, I wish Elden Ring like would have more like not just like collectathon achievements. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? Like I would prefer them to be like Cuphead, where everything is a certain challenge. Beat this with this, or
I had thought of one yesterday while I was fighting the flying dragon Agheel. I had thought of something like that. It's slipping my mind now, but if I can remember later, I'll bring it up. But yeah, I had an idea about like a more conditional type achievement, similar to how they do in Demon Souls. Because I think like the first one that comes to my head, like the adjudicator, beating the adjudicator without dropping down any levels, like something like that.
Oh well, with the adjudicator, you had to defeat him with magic only.
Was that what it was?
Yep.
Okay.
see, I wish like more achievements were like that. Challenges like because Cuphead did that perfectly. Cuphead, every
Right.
single one of Cuphead's achievements are just challenges. Like beat all of them without, or beat all of like the running guns without shooting a single bullet or getting hit. So like it's called.
That sounds like a nightmare.
Oh god, it was like my face. Like okay, so like I've never had a game make my body react in frustration. Like my nose was itchy, like it was like swelling up. It was like getting itchy. My eyes were bloodshot. Like I was like shaking almost. Like I was like just having such a hard time getting all of these achievements. I was gonna do it though. You know what I mean? I was
Oh
like,
yeah.
if I had to have like one platinum trophy,
Give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
it'd hard. All right. But yeah, I just wanted to do something that was like really fucking difficult. So I'm like, yeah, I'm a gamer. Look at this, this one platinum trophy I got. That's a worthy.
Yeah. When I'm doing the no roll challenges, no rolling, no damage. My buddy has some very weird reactions to whenever I fail. Like if I get hit, my lip will quiver a little bit. It's involuntarily. Is strange. It's like,
I remember, I remember you and me were playing Dark Souls 1, and we were on the camera, and I just remember like watching you go.
yeah, pairing does that to me. Pairing gives me a jerk whenever I nail a parry. My body's just like that. I don't know what that is exactly. I, I don't know if it's just some kind of automatic, satisfaction. Some kind of satisfaction jerk.
I want a PS5. I'm lucky that I have the PC right now and my Xbox, so I can still play new games and all that, except for Demon Souls. And I think I don't have access to Spider-Man 2. I don't know if they put that on PS4, but if they did, then I have access to that. But I think the only game I don't have like current access to is Demon Souls.
Yeah, Spider-Man 2 is on PS5. I don't think you can play it on PS4.
So that'd be the other one. Returnal is on Steam, so I could play Returnal if I so choose. Once I feel like I want to pay for it.
Highly recommend Returnal. I am not a roguelike fan, but it won me over. It's a fantastic game.
Well, I mean,
No other game, no other game on the PS5 utilizes the DualSense controllers, features like that game. None, except maybe Astro's Playroom.
I'm gonna taint it with my Xbox controller.
Well, there you go.
Alex, you can play The Amazing Spider-Man 2 on PS4.
Oh yeah, you cannot play Spider-Man 2 on PS5. It's a good game. I'm hoping that they they release some DLC for it sometime this year. Like we know that there's a Carnage DLC coming based on the Insomniac leaks. So that'll be really cool. And apparently they were going to get a standalone Venom game sometime in the near future. That will be really cool.
I was a big fan of Ultimate Spider-Man. That's the one where you could play as both Spider-Man and Venom.
Yeah, I'm trying to find that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the comic book like one. That one was pretty cool. I like the art style of it.
I saw the one with Wolverine, but I wanted to get it for PS3, not PS2.
Yeah, I know. watching you play Wolverine's Revenge just brought back like all of those memories of
Oh
that game.
yeah, I have every
Yeah,
time I
the
play
last
that
time I
game.
played that game was the last time I played that game was on an OG Xbox and I rented the game from a video store.
Did I tell you guys my conclusion for the boss fights? If you can no damage all of them.
You did not
Okay, I
actually.
guess you didn't.
I remember you saying that Juggernaut or whatever, wasn't it Juggernaut was the one that you were having trouble with?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So I actually revealed it on my one of my I think my podcast with Twilight. Basically, the conclusion is you cannot defeat all bosses without taking damage, and why is because of Magneto.
Okay.
Magneto, in order to defeat him, you have to perform a jump attack. But the thing that causes you to take damage is the fall damage. Pretty much
Really?
every time you attack Magneto, there's some kind of conflict where you take damage. But the main way to kill him, to defeat him, is to perform a jump attack and you knock him down to the floor. And you pretty much just do that, or you can just maybe hit him when he's trying to take off his little, mutant necklace that contains a good bit of his power, which is why he can't pull the anti-entium out of Wolverine at that moment. But yeah, it was disappointing, but it's whatever. It's just sometimes
Yeah.
you just have that conclusion like nope, can't be done. But Lady Deathstrike, I believe, can be done. I just haven't been back. She has 4 stages for her fight. The first fight,
Wow.
the first phase, you fight her head on, just claws, whatever. She spins
Is she the
around.
final boss?
Yes. And then the second one, you pretty much have to run around and blow up some things. The third one, you get to electrocute her, and then the fourth time is basically just get her to the edge and then knock her stagger over, cause her to lose her balance on the edge, and then that's it. The game's over with. And I believe it can be done. I just by the time I got to that point, I kind of lost my patience, and also trying to figure out what can I do for the Magneto fight. I want to at least get something out there, maybe perhaps walking around without getting hit by projectiles, because during Magneto is the most annoying fight because he's got metal and all kinds of things flying at you. He
Yeah.
also has a projectile attack, some kind of charge attack that he performs from himself and then shoots at you. And you have to stand behind something and time it just right, run up the stairs, and then perform a jump attack on him. There are a lot of things, but it is possible. I was once thinking that maybe it was impossible, but there is one set of stairs that has the least amount of floating projectiles, and so probably eventually I'll go back and try it again. I just kind of got a little burnt out on it.
Hmm.
That's kind of like the hardest part about like any game that I try to get into. I just get burned out on it. Something else is catching my mood.
Yeah.
I get sucked into that.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to simply jump to something else, and it's not going to go away unless someone steals it. But
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, when I make my music, that's about the same way I go about it. If I just cannot get a song out, I'll go make another song. And then sometimes that'll like, oh, well, I could add that to that song instead, and then I'll be able to finish it and be satisfied with it. But yeah, or like even Ninja Gaiden Black could never beat the second boss. Like it took me forever. Like as a kid, I had it for the original Xbox, and I would just sit there and I'd just be trying to beat that fucking guy on the horse over and over again, and with no avail. And then I come back to it like 10 years later, and finally beat him like on my second try. Mainly because I understood the mechanics.
Power of adulthood.
Yeah, right. Like you can read, you kind of figure out like more the mechanics of the game. When you're a kid, you're just kind of playing with what you feel comfortable with. Like like if you're playing a fighting game, you're like,
Oh yeah. Like
just
Mortal
bam.
Kombat, I still use like when I was growing up, the go-to bread and butter move for me was, crouch down uppercut.
Yeah.
And I still catch people with that all the time.
Oh yeah. It's almost what do you call it? A main move.
It can be kind of cheesy.
mm,
Got the new Mortal Kombat here on the
But
computer.
yeah, I bought Mortal Kombat 1 last year, and it's a really good game. I thought about getting Tekken because it seems to be even better, but
I
I
would.
don't. I only have time for one fighting game in my life, and it's always been Mortal Kombat, and I don't even play it as much as I probably should.
Mortal Kombat kind of gets stale for me because like the amount of combos in it isn't as fluid as Tekken or Soul Calibur. Like Tekken, I will I'm still playing Tekken 7 right now because I can't afford a new game right now. But I mean, like, so I'm playing Tekken 7, and no, I've gotten 8 characters to master level online. Like that means that you have to win
Yeah.
15 matches against 5 people,
Yeah.
like consecutively. Like if you lose, then you go back, and then you have to like get 3 more to get back to where you were. And I love Tekken 7 though because like I'll sit there and I'll see like what people like what meta characters people like constantly use, and then I won't use them. I will only use characters that people are unfamiliar with, like the sumo guy, and that is funny
Hmm.
as fuck because people just think, oh, I'm gonna beat his ass. He's playing that slow character, and then you just see me just go like that. Like he just has this move where he's hopping on one leg and he's just hitting you like this, but it's like a continuous move, and
Yeah.
I've gotten so much hate mail from that. Like I switch up my moves. Like I never just like spam anything, but like that one particular move, like if I'm losing, I'll do that just to piss people off with him. But it's fun, like to like find all these characters who do so different. But with Mortal Kombat, I just can't. I just don't find that fluidity. I don't enjoy it.
My thing with the Mortal Kombat combos is that they stay fairly similar throughout all the games. Like, you learn the combos for a character in one game. You can have some confidence that the combos aren't going to really change in the next game.
Yeah. See, with Tekken, um, you could like every directional plus button input, like every direction, whether it be left, diagonal, up, like everyone does something different. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And like you can create your own combos that way. And that's what I find fun. Like juggling, like you have so much freedom with your juggling. So like you hit someone up in the air and you hit them with another move, and then you find this combo that But Mortal
Yeah.
Kombat, like it just has those set moves. You don't
Yeah, it does.
really play around with them. They don't move in with each other.
Yeah.
It's like God of War, really, but fighting.
Like, are you
Right.
able to turn your camera so it's horizontal instead of vertical?
Yeah.
There we go. Perfect.
You like that better?
Yeah, that's much better.
Yes,
Okay.
gives you a moonful.
Can you imagine
I
if?
can't see I can't see Alex's face now. All right, but getting back to that original question you asked, I will go into the DLC with the Moonveil Katana and the Moonlight Greatsword, and also Radahn's Greatswords, because sometimes I go back to Renala and respec from Dex Int to Strength Int, just because I enjoy using Radahn's Greatswords so much. They're really fun. But for the majority of the time, I will be using the Dark Moon Greatsword, and the Moonveil Katana.
So adjust your build several times.
Yeah,
You're not worried you're going to run out of that item to give Renala.
I have not run out so far. I've found so many of them.
Well,
And then on New Game Plus, you just get more.
well, actually, don't after you collect as many as you can of that item. Doesn't she allow you to do it infinitely after that? I could have swore I heard that
I don't
somewhere.
know. I don't know.
But
I
you
haven't
have
heard that.
but you have to collect all of what's in in the game before you can just do it
Yeah,
infinitely.
that may be the case, but I mean, I've found like I want to say like 15 of them, and I'm sure that there might be even more because you'll get them from random elite enemies. Like I think you can get them from there's a couple rune bears that drop them, I think maybe. But they're fairly they're pretty liberal with that item compared to other games.
So you're using the Moonveil Katana Blade.
Yeah, that's the one I use the most. I love using it. And then the Dark Moon Greatsword when I want to change it up and be more just a little It's just a slightly different, it's a different strategy using, the great sword compared to a katana.
Alex, oh, sorry.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
Oh, Alex, what weapon did you say you were using?
I was making a joke when I answered, but I'll probably give Moog's spear a good little college
The
try.
Triton.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool weapon.
It's pretty good. Yeah, that would have been great for my what's his name, Gary Bunda build from Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell, but I would have to fight Moog and learn how to. I was like, I don't feel like doing it.
Yeah, you can't.
It can be a slog of a fight, especially if you're not using the Flask of Wonders physic.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm going to get very familiar with him eventually, so.
Yeah, you're gonna have no choice.
Yeah, I mean, I've only fought him maybe a few times, so it's not like I've tried him over 100 times or something.
I mean,
like that.
like I said this once, but I mean, you could just say F it and just use an OP weapon and a spear.
No, I can't do that. I couldn't sleep.
I respect that. I respect that.
So yeah, let's kind of get a move on. So wait, what's on your list for the Elden Ring DLC? Did you have any particular topics for that, or did you just have the other topics?
I just wrote down the other topics, but I'm really interested in particular in learning about the different weapon types because from what we saw, it seems there was a scene where the player character is seen throwing these spectral knives at an enemy, and it doesn't look like they're holding another weapon. So I'm really interested to learn more about that.
Magic.
I wish the fire giant's leg was a weapon.
Yeah.
He's just holding you. You just can't see your character. It's just the fire giant's leg in the camera.
I thought it was a really missed opportunity that we couldn't get his giant plate.
Yeah. Yep. That would have been awesome.
Like, use it as a shield.
You could slide around Limgrave.
Or the mountain peaks.
Like Clark Griswold on Christmas Vacation. Just go super speed.
Start changing the game into Power World with its utilities.
Oh yeah.
Any chance we might see different steeds, or do you think we're just kind of stuck with Torrent for now?
I do not think we'll see different steeds. Because Torrent seems to be a central figure because he used to belong to Miquella. And we're gifted him by Melina from Miquella. So
he's pretty cemented in the lore then to be with us.
Yeah.
I guess it's not truly that really. I mean, I don't really use Torrent that much. I was really hoping for a turtle. You could ride a turtle around, but
around right there. Dodge!
It would be really funny. So
big weapons and a turtle.
So for the boss fights, I really hope they do better with the arenas. One of my biggest complaints about Elden Ring is just the arenas are really just not that memorable at all. Nothing like Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Dark Souls 2. It's just Elden Ring's just rather bland with their arenas, and it's very unfortunate. Now, of course, I can remember Radahn's. That's spectacular.
Radahn's good. Fire Giant was good. I liked Fire Giant.
Margit and Godric's arenas are too similar. I'm still wondering about that. Why in the world did they basically copy and paste their arenas? The only difference is that there's a dragon on a stake.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I like the Fallen Omen, the very first boss that everyone always has a trouble time with. Yeah, Margit. I like that one because it's so thin, like you have to be very aware of your environment in order to, like, the dungeon bosses, that gets pretty lame. You're just in a small room with whatever. Actually, it really made me hate fighting both the soldiers. What's their fucking name? I haven't played the game in like a year. The guys who fucking fly, have the spears, have the sword.
Are you talking about the gargoyles?
No, the first
Crucible Knight.
Yeah, the Crucible Knights. Yeah, when you had to fight both of them in that one dungeon, the
Yeah,
heroes.
Oh yeah.
that's a tough one.
That was like such a like obviously it's just some random optional boss, but fuck, it's hard. Like, yeah, I think that would be the two sharks equivalent in Elden Ring,
Mm.
or the two
It's definitely a tough one.
three. Yeah,
Do you think we seen the with the trailer? Do you think we've seen the boss that has like what 3 or 4 phases? What's been rumored? Do you think possibly we might have seen it?
If there is one, then it's either going to be Mesmer or Mikola.
Yeah. Hopefully
Because
there's
I'm
some.
not for sure that Mikola will be a boss, but it definitely would make sense, and I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean,
Because,
Moog,
huh?
if you're entering through Moog, like, that's where.
You're entering through that egg, the withered arm. Yeah, that is Mikola's body.
Yeah,
Yeah. And in the trailer they talk about how he shed his physical form and lost his powers to, travel, to go to the Shadowlands, and that, I'm wondering if he will kind of be our Melina and our guide, kind of, in the DLC. And then maybe, after we beat Mesmer, he is able to ascend in some way. And it could be a situation where, after we beat Mesmer, who is surely going to be at least a two-phase fight, and then we transition straight into a cutscene where Mikola shows up and absorbs his essence or something, and then we have to go into a fight with Mikola, maybe.
It's Milka's supposed to be huge, right?
Mikola is supposed to be, he's described as nascent, which is, he is he is cursed to always be a child.
Okay, I must be thinking about America then.
get that blasphemous boss.
I thought Mikola was a woman.
See, Mikola is, so he's supposed to be kind of androgynous. He has an alter ego that is maybe Saint Trina. It's a very popular theory that his alter ego is Saint Trina, who is a woman, kind of like how Marika and Radagon are the same person. But he is very, he's kind of effeminate. He's a childlike. He's described as being able to compel affection, which, that might not be a good thing. You're compelling people to have affection for you, but I think we're going to learn a lot about. We definitely are going to learn a lot about him, and I'm interested to see what direction they take him. If he's going to be, at the end of the day, more or less a bad guy.
I think I figured it out. Someone in Elden Ring has a genie making wishes.
That would be interesting.
And then the final boss, the one with 3 or 4 phases, is the genie.
Is the genie? Is the Jinn? The evil Jinn of the Erdtree?
Start having the Fairly
The
Odd
Elden Jinn?
The Elden genie.
Sheesh. One thing that they talked about was that there won't be any the DLC won't add any new endings to the base game, which
Yeah.
is slightly disappointing.
That's what I was just gonna bring up. Like, you know how like it would be cool to like, I know if you do the Frenzied Flame ending,
Yeah, I did that one.
Melena,
Melina?
yeah,
Yeah.
Melena says that she's gonna hunt you down.
Yeah.
Like so, like well, it'd be like choosing to kill Kiru, or save him and fight your father in Sekiro.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like just that little alternate branched path where
Hmm.
now different bosses for
And that's crazy now that you mentioned that's an option, because if you choose that option, the Shura ending, and betray Kuro, you cut off like the final third of the game.
but you still have to fight like a bunch of bosses.
Yeah, you got to fight Emma and then Ishin back to back.
Yeah. And then don't you have to fight father again?
I don't think so. No. Oh, if you choose not to betray Kuro and you choose to instead, break the Iron Code, you have to fight your father right then and there. And then if you're going for a certain ending, then you'll go to Harada Estate again, and then you'll fight a younger version of him, and that is a really tough fight.
Man,
It made me quit the game for over a year.
I remember putting so much time in the Owl Father fight.
Oh
The
man,
one on top of the tower, I forgot the name difference with the one in the past, but yeah, I
Yeah.
remember. I can just imagine it right now, just him kicking at me and me running in circles trying to find an opening. It was great.
it was wild.
And fortunately, you have the Mortal Blade at that point, so you can punish him
Yeah,
really well.
yeah. The Mortal Blade was very handy.
Okay, so we discussed builds and a little
Well,
bit
what
about.
build are you going into the DLC with?
I'm going to
What weapon
use
are you going to use?
I'm going to use my Lark Syncrad build with the dual wield militia blades, whatever those are called.
Okay, the Vulgar Militia Blades.
Yeah, vulgar militia blades. Yeah, I love those
Very
blades
nice.
so much. I'll see how well
They're
they
good
hold up.
weapons.
And if that build doesn't really work out, I'll either find another weapon or just grab another character. I don't want to use my level 100 character. I want to enter there at a cap of 55. See how well that goes.
What,
That has always worked well for me in the past.
what level is your vitality at on that?
I mean, it's base for level 1.
Oh my goodness. So like what? Like 10?
Something like that. Whatever the minimum is on
It
level
means you're
1.
gonna get. It means you're gonna get really familiar with their move sets because
Oh yeah,
you're not gonna be able to get hit one time.
that's the point. Yeah.
Yeah, that is the point. You're right.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm really interested to learn more about how they're going to implement this sort of attack power mechanic similar to how they do in Sekiro that they talked about. I'm really interested
Yeah,
in that.
I really hope it's done well because I don't want it to feel too alienated from the rest of the game.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Because if I walk in there
And
and it just feels
it's
like a
only
totally
going to
separate
be
thing, like how a lot of other games do their DLC where you just select it from a menu or something like that. I want it to feel
yeah,
organic within the world instead of just something totally
right.
separate. Oh, well, you can't leave here with these weapons. All these weapons got to stay in here. That would suck.
Yeah, I think it'll be like a scaling thing maybe that's only active whenever you're in because the Shadowlands is going to be a completely separate map from the
Hmm.
regular map. So maybe it'll just be something that's only active when you're in that map. That's probably what it's going to be.
Yeah, and some slight scaling wouldn't be bad. You just got to keep in mind. All right, when I enter this DLC, my weapons are not going to be as effective, or they're going to be more effective, whatever it is. But I do hope that
Yes.
there are some items that you can transfer over to the vanilla game and use, like talismans. I'm really hoping that we'll get to see some nice talismans, maybe some upgrades of vanilla
I'm sure we
talismans.
will.
Like I would love to see an upgrade of the blue dancer talisman. That would be nice because that's something I always have on me. Or the ritual sword talisman,
Hmm.
the one.
I would be really surprised if all the equipment and weapons and stuff like that had to stay in the DLC and you couldn't take it to the base game. That would be a huge L.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would backlash on that.
Yeah,
That would.
I wouldn't like it.
I don't think. I'm pretty sure Miyazaki's smart enough to allow people to be able to bring weapons back out to the vanilla game.
Yeah,
I don't think he would
yeah,
be that
surely
silly.
that would be extremely silly.
Yeah.
You know, Fallout 3's DLC, Anchorage, Operation Anchorage. The whole thing's a simulation. So everything that you gather from that, like you get cool stuff when you beat the mission, but nothing that you kept.
Oh
Uh,
man.
the whole DLC was like you're in a simulation booth. And
Mm.
That's the reason I haven't gone into New Game Plus on Starfield because whenever you do, you basically forfeit everything you've acquired in the previous cycle. I'm just like, I
Then
don't
what's the
really
point of
like.
going to New Game Plus?
it adds more.
Well, because it's supposed to be, it's a different timeline, and there's going to be, and you get to upgrade your space powers, and you get there's perks. There is a point, but I don't love it.
I
Hmm.
just don't feel like Starfield has any charm.
I really like the game, and I feel like it was snubbed at the Game Awards. It should have at least been nominated. for Game of the Year because I really enjoyed my time with it. It was a great game, and I only encountered one serious bug the entire time I played the game, similar to Spider-Man 2. I only had one serious bug in that game, but and I'm really excited to see where they take it with the expansion that later this year, Shattered Space. I think they're gonna, because usually Bethesda does a really good job with DLC in my experience, kind of like FromSoft.
Do things. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't like
The Skyrim DLCs are some of the best DLCs I've ever played.
Yeah, and I like being like the leader of my faction after I've been in that faction, and there's not a single faction.
No, you don't do that in Starfield, unfortunately.
It's like, well, that feels limiting.
Yeah.
I tried to push forward and just do random shit, and I was like,
Yeah.
it's not. I mean, I like the game for the 100 hours I played it. Like, don't get me wrong, I played it a good amount of time, but
Yeah.
it started becoming stale, and I'm like, I don't really have anywhere to go. I don't have any goals, and I don't have any perks that I can get from these goals, and
Yeah.
besides some money, like the Ryujin Industries, like it's supposed to be corporate espionage and everything like that. It was more like just fetch quests until you were done. Okay.
Have they confirmed that the Elden Ring DLC is going to be a prequel or not?
Are you talking? So, are you talking about like it's going to be like a time travel type thing?
Right. Is it going to be taking place in the past?
No, it's not. As far as what I've seen and read and gathered online, it's not. It's going to be, with current events in the game.
Oh, good. Finally, something different.
Yes, I agree with you on that.
Well,
I wouldn't have been upset if it had been a time travel type thing, but I'm glad that they're doing it. It's continuing the continuity of the regular base game.
If we see any bosses returning, who do you think? Do you think maybe there's a chance we get to fight a boss in the DLC, and if we kill that boss in the DLC, then we don't have to defeat him in the middle of the game? Or
that would be really cool.
Like it'll be a stronger, more powerful boss, but you can get rid of him earlier or something like. I don't know. I don't know if they'll be able to work out like that. But maybe you can access him early in the DLC, knock him out, and then it benefits you later in the vanilla game.
That would be really cool. I was thinking like, how cool would it be if we got to fight, a younger version of Radon? But that
might be a
not
conflict,
possible.
with the whole Millennia thing.
Yeah. And then of course you have to beat Radon to even access the DLC. That was another thing. Not only do you have to beat Moog, you have to beat Radon to access the DLC.
And you couldn't do anything like that with the Beast Clergyman Malekith because what are they going to do once you get there? You transfer over to
Once you beat him, I think once you beat him, doesn't the world state change?
Yep, it does. So they would have to do a lot of redesign somewhere. Who would be good? It couldn't be the Godskin duo because they're
maybe maybe.
What about Godfrey?
Possibly.
Maybe fight him when his axe is fully formed. Maybe you could be the one to break his axe.
I enjoyed the Horaloo part of his fight immensely. Immensely.
Like being thrown around was a little irritating, but.
Oh man, he was going full Hulk Hogan on you.
Well, just don't get caught. Yeah. Just run out. Just run out of the way.
Just
That's when it started getting satisfying. That's when I was like, all right, I can finally dodge these fucking attacks.
I still can't believe I was able to get him without taking damage. That was so wild to do. It took me months to get it done.
I don't think I've beaten any of the bosses without taking damage.
Oh, you got to do it.
I think I should.
Especially, I don't know if you guys saw my Radagon and Elden Beast fight without.
Radagon was such a fun fight.
Oh yes, parrying him changed the fight for me entirely. I got to parry him. It's too much fun.
His attacks are really fun to avoid.
Only thing.
Elden Beast is a little bit different.
I love the Elden Beast. I just don't like the Elden Stars attack.
Yeah, I like the fight, and like you said, Elden Stars can be a bit goofy.
And it's weird how they put that buggy method of evading it in the strategy guide.
I'll have to read that. I don't remember.
They don't even have the Godskin duo in the strategy guide. They in the very first volume they have a little blog mentioning them, but in the volume 2 where they talk about the boss fights and discuss the strategies, they're nowhere to be found. You can find them individually, but it doesn't talk about the Godskin duo fight at all. Other than
That is a very interesting omission.
what the heck? There's so much to talk about in terms of strategy.
You know
But
what? We're gonna get a Godskin trio fight.
I hope so. If it works well, I'll love it because I love the Godskin duo now. I just
Yeah, you figured it out. You loved it. Awesome.
It's funny. I mentioned I think on the Twilight podcast where people are actually getting mad at me because I proved them wrong that the fact that the Godskin Noble can roll over the broken pillar because they claimed up, here and there saying, oh well, he can't roll over the broken pillar in the middle. It's safe. It's guaranteed safe. I'm like, oh yeah. Well, here's a short. I uploaded it. He's like, oh well, you got to destroy that jar. That you see that tiny little jar. You got to break that so he doesn't. I'm like, are you kidding me?
That doesn't make any sense.
That's so freaking dumb, man. Freaking admit that it's a problem.
You didn't grab the flail from way back in the first part of the game. Like that's the only reason why you can't go over there.
You were on torrent too much.
Oh god.
You used cheat codes, and now CJ jumps off the building.
Jeez.
No, dog.
I was one thing I was thinking about earlier is the round table hold. When you're in the DLC, do you think we'll have access to a different blacksmith?
Ooh,
Or maybe
that's interesting.
Or maybe like that same blacksmith, but like when he was.
Surely you'll just, I'm assuming there'll be sites of grace. I mean, there has to be. That's the bonfire.
Well, yeah.
But I mean, surely you'll just be able to go back and forth from the base game and the round table hold just at will. So I don't know if they'll do that or not.
That'd be so funny if there was a creature in the DLC that actually steals Stake of America's, and places them somewhere else. Like if you don't notice him when you go into the fog gate to fight the boss, if you click on Stake America, it puts you in a totally dangerous area. That would be really cool.
That would be cool. Kind of like the transporter trap chests.
Mm-hmm.
Those caught me off guard the first time, my first playthrough. I was not expecting that. As soon as I saw the fog coming out of a chest, I was like, "Oh shit! They just poisoned me to death." But no, I've been transported.
I thought a crossbow was going to come out of it like Dark Souls 2.
Yeah, they got us with those.
Yeah.
One thing I would like to see make a return is mimics.
Yeah, and that's one thing they could do. That's one thing they could do in the vanilla game. They could secretly, sneak, in a sneaky way, place some mimics where the treasure chest used to be, and you can still have the treasure in there. You just got to kill the mimic to get it.
Or a mimic grace.
Yeah, that too. That would be wild. People have been wanting something like that for a while.
Yeah, I think it would be cool.
That had that treasure chest that took you to the fucking Kaled right at the beginning of the game.
The finger creepers are kind of like mimics in a way because they'll have treasures sitting in the palm when they're underneath the ground. Yeah. So there are
you can see aspects them fairly easily.
Yeah, you have their little fingers sticking out, and it's still a callback because apparently the mimic teeth are fingers as well, from what I understand. So it's loosely inspired.
I can't remember which Dark Souls it was, but in one of them, you can, if you really pay attention, you can like see the lid open up and it's like sleeping or something, like it's like snoring or something.
I thought that was Dark Souls 1 as well.
It might have been. I can't remember which one it is. And then, of course, I think it's Dark Souls 2 or 3. I think it's Dark Souls 2. Ones with the lock, with the padlock are mimics or not mimics or something like that. And then in Dark Souls 3, it's the chain is facing you or facing away.
I think it's the same deal with Dark Souls 3.
Okay.
I don't remember it being different. Dark Souls 3 is just, I think the only difference in Dark Souls 3 was that they crab walk. Some of them crab walk.
Oh, yeah. Some of them do, and some of them stand straight up. Yes.
I would love to see like an official mimic boss, like the Mimic Lord or something.
Oh, that would be cool. That would be cool.
Like not a treasure chest, but a golden palace or something like that with gold pouring out the sides.
That would be really
cool. So yeah, what kind of talismans do you think are missing that you would like to see in the DLC?
One that increases poise damage.
That would be really good. That's something that I would like to see. I mean, I already figured out the stagger rhythm for Melania, with R2's, because I'm punishing. It's funny, I hated Melania's idling, but now I punish her for it, and it has paid off.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Hesitation is defeat.
and it's funny. I started using Margit's hammer, the one he summons in the first fight, and two R2s actually staggers her, but I medium roll with it, so I can't use it.
You know what weapon I really wanted to get good at was I don't know why I'm forgetting all of their names now all of a sudden, but the King of the Gold, one of the sons, uh, he's at the Stormvale Castle. He's the final boss.
Oh, Godric.
Godric.
I mean, yeah, Godric. Yeah.
Yeah. So like his dragon hand, like I always wanted to get like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool. That'd be a cool DLC weapon.
Well, I mean, you have it. I have it.
Oh wait, that's right. You can get it, right?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can
Drake?
with his
Okay.
remembrance.
Yeah, I guess that's just something I don't ever go after.
Yeah, I mean,
I bought it because I always spend the remembrances, but I haven't actually used it in combat, but I played around with it, and it's kind of cool.
Do you guys remember that glitch I found with Godric?
I vaguely remember you talking about it. I don't remember the glitch itself.
See, what happened was I accidentally killed Godric. I wanted, because I remember you guys laughing about it. I was like, "Oh man, I accidentally killed Godric. I didn't want to kill him," and I quit and reload. The fog gate popped up for just a moment, then disappeared, and I was like, "Oh no!" And I got all his stuff, the ruins, but I noticed that the dragon head was still on the stake.
Ah.
And so it just stays there for the rest of the game.
That's pretty cool.
It's a neat little glitch. I'm surprised it didn't take off. I guess that wasn't popular enough for it to do anything.
Yeah.
Was there anything else you guys wanted? Well, the talisman. Yeah, pretty much the increased stagger damage is one I really want to see, and I mentioned earlier upgrades of old talismans that we've seen before. Of course,
like increased your status effect build up. Like poison.
Oh, okay. A talisman that it will increase any status effect buildup. That would be really.
They don't have one like that.
No, I haven't seen.
No, I don't believe so. That would be really overpowered.
Huh.
Yeah, because then you just be poisoning everybody, or frostbite, or bleed.
Because with certain weapons and movesets, and then if you're using, if you're able to use the blood grease, and then you also had a talisman on top of it that increased your status effect buildup, you would be getting bleed off with every couple hits.
That would probably be what they would nerf. They'd be like, you can't be doing bleed. You could do poison. You could do frost.
Yeah.
No bleed.
Is it just me?
Bleed was really broken for a while.
Is it just me, or buffing? Using basic buffing is really satisfying in this game because you bite into a piece of meat that's on a bone. I just find that so much better than anything else they've done.
Yeah, and I love the effects. I love the effects that go onto the blade after you do it. They're so good to look at.
Oh yeah, I remember being super impressed by the lightning in Dark Souls 1. Whenever you apply gold pine resin to it still looks good. It
still looks good. Yeah. You're right. Yeah. I like how they have they have different versions. I think they've done this in almost all the games where, they have the one that slowly applies the effect and then it lasts for like 2 minutes. And then they have one that does it really quick and it only lasts for like 30 seconds.
Yeah, too bad in Sekiro you couldn't get the, what's it called? The gorilla. Too bad you couldn't get some kind of fecal matter applied to your weapon.
Oh man, that'd be crazy. Dude, the first time he threw his dookie at me, I almost put the gun down. I was like, no way he just did that.
That was
disrespected me like that.
Crazy.
He started farting and shitting. What the fuck?
I mean, I guess it wasn't too surprising because it's not the first time we saw fecal matter in From Software. Because we had dung pies.
Are classic.
I didn't realize dung pies actually can affect you in a toxic that gives you a toxic status, but it's not as
Yeah.
effective like the dudes in Blighttown when they shoot you with a
Right.
dart. If you
Yeah.
poison yourself with the dung pie, you actually have you're invincible to that toxic status that can inflict on you.
And it's a much slower damage
Right.
decrease. Yeah.
So that was a very interesting find. I probably will never use it, but if you're like in
No,
a
it's a troll item.
yeah,
I see people use it a lot in PvP. After you get killed, they'll point down and then they'll toss a dung pie.
those freaking dart dudes, they don't give you hardly a chance to walk around them to avoid everything and avoid their darts. They shoot twice. There's a small little window of opportunity, but
They're annoying.
they loop right back. Thought I heard my wife.
Yeah.
I'm
One of my
watching
kids has
porn.
come in here several times.
It'd be like ashamed of the podcast so much. I'm watching porn, I swear.
I'm watching a guy get his head cut off with a chainsaw.
Yeah. I'm watching man things, okay?
Well, if you guys are ready to move on to other topics, if you think about anything Elden Ring DLC wise, you can feel free to bring it up. It's not strict.
Definitely.
We got almost an hour left. I would love to be able to do if you guys can stay.
I'm here.
Yeah, nothing to do.
Did you have anything else, Blake, for Elden Ring wise? Anyone?
Nah, I don't believe so.
Okay. I'll start off on the other topics. This is kind of just jumping. Sorry, my cat's getting impatient.
They do that.
All right, so this is definitely a big change of topic, but Beetlejuice 2. Definitely wanted to see what you guys thought about that. Have you guys seen Beetlejuice, the original movie?
Yeah.
Okay, so what are the chances are that this is going to be a complete rehash?
Well, Johnny Depp.
What do you mean?
So.
Is he in it?
No way.
Yeah, I believe that's who's playing as Beetlejuice is Johnny Depp.
No. Johnny Depp isn't playing Beetlejuice. It's Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton.
Yeah. No, Michael Keaton's been confirmed to play Beetlejuice.
That would be absolutely insane to have Johnny Depp play.
Maybe Johnny Depp could be a rival of Beetlejuice. That would be interesting.
Now that would be interesting.
He could play
a character like that.
He could play his Willy Wonka character.
Oh god.
Good morning, Beetlejuice.
I was thinking more Captain Jack Sparrow.
Good morning, Beetlejuice.
I mean, really, anything with Michael Keaton or Willem Dafoe, I'm always gonna watch. But
I like Willem.
Oh
Dafoe
yes.
a lot. I think as long as is Winona Ryder going to be in it?
Yeah.
Yep. And you got Jennifer Ortega, Tim Burton's new favorite actress.
She's pretty good.
Oh yeah, she was great in Wednesday. That was a brilliant show.
So is Jenna Ortega's character going to be the one to summon him this time? You think?
Probably. I mean, I can imagine her just sitting there saying, "Oh, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice,
so
Beetlejuice."
When you say rehash, are you thinking that it's going to follow largely the same plot as the first movie, just with the original Winona Ryder's character as the mom, and then Jenna Ortega maybe as the daughter that summons him?
Yeah, and Winona Ryder's mother in the movie, she's going to be back. I don't know what she's going to do. She might just be in the background saying a bunch of references, saying, "Oh, remember that time?"
Maybe she'll be like a dead zombie character.
I don't know. Too bad we can't get Ofo again, whatever his name was, the fat dude. He was I think he was a manager or something like that.
Something like that. It's been a long time since I watched Beetlejuice.
I think he died in the 2000s.
That's unfortunate.
I think what happened
Hold on a
was
second.
that I found a picture of Beetlejuice and it looked like Johnny Depp.
Probably.
I got my hopes up a little too much. He hasn't even been in the movie all year. I mean, in 2023, I guess.
Well, they're talking about rebooting the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise without him, and that will just be a complete failure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're taking a story of I think is based off of a real pirate. She's a redheaded girl, and they're basically just blackwashing the character.
Yeah, I'm sorry. If it's Pirates of the Caribbean movie without Captain Jack Sparrow is a Pirates of the Caribbean movie, I'm not watching.
Yeah, they should just end it. There's no reason to continue doing it. Make
He was that franchise.
Oh yeah.
another pirate movie. Like it doesn't. You don't have
And
to.
I love all those movies, and it's 100% because of his character.
I like Orlando Bloom's chemistry with them.
Yeah, he was good. He was good.
Them together, it's pretty good combination.
And I like how at the end, he kind of at the end of his arc, he kind of replaced Davy Jones, became the new Davy Jones. That was pretty good stuff.
Did you see Dead Man Tell No Tales?
Yeah, I've seen them all.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
Captain Salazar. I love that villain, Captain Salazar. I thought he was so
Yeah, it's a good
cool.
one.
It was a
He
shame,
was.
that he was just kind of wasted away in that one movie. I wanted to see more of him.
And then, of course, at the end of the day, the real bad guy was the British Empire.
What did you learn from this movie? Oh, the government's bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, based on the leaked footage and images we've seen of Beetlejuice 2, we already see Jennifer Ortega in a wedding dress. So
Okay, so she's definitely going to be the one
yes.
fooling with Beetlejuice. Yeah.
So I'm like, why isn't there no other? Why can't Beetlejuice have like a plan B? Why is he reusing plan A? When we see villains, when it's done well, we see a villain going like, like Plankton for SpongeBob. He's not using the exact same plan. He's using
He's trying
Plan
to come up with new
Z,
stuff.
Plan
Yeah.
Z plus one. Like in a SpongeBob movie, I think it was like some kind of weird
He's
number.
trying to get creative.
Yeah, and then, so I'm like, Beetlejuice is supposed to be, creative with his antics, and he's like, oh, I'm just gonna try to get married again. It's the only way.
Is it come out this year?
Yes, October, I think. That seems appropriate.
Okay, definitely gonna have to watch.
Oh yeah, I'm still gonna go to the theater to see it, regardless if it's bad or not.
How do you guys feel about like different movies, like ones that are like more like passion projects or like art?
Like what?
Directive. So there's this. Okay, so I don't know why I wanted to talk about this just for a split second, but like there's a movie called The Lighthouse. With,
Oh, that's a great movie.
Yeah, with Willem.
Oh yes, love it.
Patterson. Oh man, I've been trying to find another movie like that lately because I've been watching too much One Piece. I need to find like a movie to watch. By the way,
hold on 1 second. Hold on. I need to put my dog outside real quick.
Okay. I am obsessed with One Piece right now. I'm on episode 1000.
Jeez, yeah.
I spent a whole year watching this show, and I'm just like, I need like a movie to like dive into for a moment that isn't like the Sun's movies.
I remember when I first saw the trailer for Lighthouse, I was hooked immediately. It was such a well done trailer. It was involved around the seagull mostly. Seagull just being a nuisance, and just seeing Willem Dafoe's performance and this movie changed my mind about Robert Pattinson. I just kept seeing him from Twilight and like, oh well, that's the only thing he's known for and good for. And then I saw him in this movie and I was like, oh, okay, this guy's serious.
Really good actor, honestly. Like he even did a good job in Harry Potter, and he played as Siegfried or whatever. He's the one who Voldemort killed when Voldemort was the Goblet of Fire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he did a good job there. Yeah, everyone like sticks to the whole narrative that he's the vampire from Twilight. It's like he was given a fucking, he was basically given a soft porn part to play. And it's 7 straight, like basically another 50 Shades of Grey, but for teenage girls, in a sense.
I've come around on Robert Pattinson. He's a good actor.
Yeah, I recently saw him in the new Batman movie, and it was pretty good.
I haven't seen that one yet.
It's long. That's really the worst thing about it. It's too long, in my opinion.
I try to get like me and my son and his mom. We were gonna watch it. And then, like, the first scene was the Riddler just stabbing someone repeatedly. Like, I can't watch this with my son.
I really like the scene where they capture Penguin and he's tied up. And when they leave him there, he just starts waddling around like a penguin because he's tied up. I thought that was a really cool way to portray his character. A little reference to a penguin, of course.
Right.
But
I heard Madam Web was a huge failure.
I plan on not watching that.
what are you talking about? It's revolutionary. It
Tell me.
deepens the Spider-Man universe that we've never seen before with
Yeah.
I had
insight.
never heard of Madam Web ever until they started coming out with promotional material for
Huh?
that movie. I was like, "Who is Madam
You
Web?"
never heard of Madam Web in general?
No,
Yeah,
I
she's
used to play a lot of Avengers games, or not
no
Avengers,
no.
Marvel games.
She was in the Spider-Man animated series.
I don't remember her.
Yeah, she pops up. She's an old lady. She has my glasses on.
So that's where you get your
It's
style.
it,
I remember Morbius. I remember Morbius from the animated series, and then I remember when that movie came out, I was like, "This is going to be ass," and it was.
Someone said the Blade movie is supposed to go into the Morbius movie.
Oh, okay, that would be
hmm.
interesting.
Yeah, I thought that like it might have
Where's
been
my?
just a fan theory, but like it would be a good movie, really. The vampire versus the vampire daywalker.
Yeah.
But
Well, he is a Marvel character.
I want to go back to the lighthouse. What about that mermaid scene?
I
Oh,
thought it was funny when he's all like trying to figure out what Willem Dafoe is doing, and then all of a sudden just gets like, like
Well, no,
he's
where he
like,
finds the mermaid laying on the rocks, and he goes over there and just rubs her down.
but isn't he hallucinating?
I'm
yeah.
not sure exactly. Is he?
Well,
That's
they're
the thing. It's so
on
left up to
Yeah, that's
interpretation.
what I like about it. You know, he's.
And what do you guys think is up there in the lighthouse? What do you think's up there? Is it some sort of like Cthulhu type, like elder goddish type creature?
I think it could be a vision into, it could be just information that's too overwhelming that it just destroyed his brain. Possibly it's just a symbol of having access to too much information.
Hmm.
Like, to put it in a very basic way.
the end of
Yeah.
that movie really fucking tripped me out pretty bad. You know, like it's just like because they go through all of these like hallucinations and just like mind fucked thing, and the guy just finally snaps and he's like, "I must see what's in the lighthouse." Gets up to the lighthouse and a bird gets him and he just fucking falls down and dies. It was just like, I never will find out. You're just fucking dead now.
I love that scene where he's just screaming and it gets fried. The noise gets fried. The visuals get fried.
When I first watched it, I was like, "Is there an option to turn this off in black and white?" But I ended up liking that
Oh
at the end
man,
of it.
I love the black and white part and the 4:3 ratio. I mean, it's what inspired me to
Yeah,
do the Dark
it was
Souls
good.
stuff. Black and white four by
No, it
three.
was good.
I actually, that's what drove me to want to watch it. Like, oh, a little black and white, little change of artistic
You ever
view.
watch the Robert Eggers The Witch?
Yep,
Yeah,
That's
that's a
a
good
good
one.
one.
I've
It's
only
real
seen
good.
it once.
Yeah,
Um,
me too.
God of War, God of Zilla -1 actually has they released it in theaters in black and white, and apparently it's
Hmm.
very very good. Hopefully they have it as an option on the physical release.
You watched it in black and white?
No, no, I want to. I saw it in color, but apparently they do something different. They didn't just simply slap a black and white feature on it or mess with the saturation. They actually made it the proper adjustments for it to look like a classic black and white movie. I can't tell you exactly what they did. I just heard that they made necessary adjustments for it to just sit and look presentable in a way where it just doesn't look basic, saturation adjustments.
Yeah.
I really was on the fence about watching Godzilla -1 because I'm really huge into that monster verse. You know, like it's like one of my top. Like if I see another King Kong Godzilla movie, so like I saw -1 and I'm like, are they just cutting off King Kong versus Godzilla? And I was like, I almost didn't want to watch it because of that. Then I saw the trailers for Kong or
Yeah,
God.
that was my question. Is it a different timeline? Is it a completely different
No,
continuity and
Just a
timeline
remake,
from
reimagining,
it's just a remake?
remake. Like Shin Godzilla has no connection to Shin Godzilla, but it's still made by Japan and it's brilliant on its own. It does. When you go to watch Godzilla -1, forget about Shin Godzilla. It's just his own project. It's, just its own beautiful thing. And Godzilla -1 is its own beautiful thing.
I'll have to
Okay.
watch it because I mean it looks good. I was so pissed off that they weren't continuing Kong versus Godzilla. Then I found out they are. Like they're not letting because when they remake a movie like Ultimate Spider-Man, like they did the two movies for Ultimate Spider-Man, switched to Tom Holland, like and then that just stopped with that until the multiverse one. But like same with the Tobey Maguire one. Third one happened, Ultimate Spider-Man. Second one happened, Tom Holland. Like they just went from one to the next. So I figured that's what they were doing with Godzilla, and I was like, "Fuck, man!" I was invested. Like, I wanted to see like more. I want to see Destroya in the new movie, which it probably won't be, but like Destroya was a bunch of micro um, fuck, what do you call them? Like tiny little things that all accumulate into one thing.
Hmm.
Destroya was an infection that turned into a giant monster that gave Godzilla, and the older movie gave Godzilla one of the hardest times. And I don't remember which Godzilla movie it is, but I remember watching that one, and then the one with Orca, the guy with the gaping mouth that tried to eat Godzilla, and then you had Space Godzilla, who is probably the fiercest foe that he's ever fought, aside from King Ghidorah.
Is that the robot Godzilla?
No, that's Mecha Godzilla.
Oh, Mecha Godzilla. I thought he was the. I thought he was supposed to be the strongest Godzilla. Was Mecha Godzilla?
No, he's up there, but Space Godzilla had like it was just Godzilla, but with like telepathy and telekinesis, and like had like these two giant spires that came out of his shoulders, and he was like Godzilla's most formidable foe. And so
What do you guys think of a Godzilla that could talk?
that'd be lame.
Where you're
Think
sitting
that'd
down
be
having
lame?
tea.
Yeah.
I don't know if I
And
can stop
and
destroying your
and he has
city.
an
It's
and he
just part
has
of
an
my DNA.
he's he's based in Japan, but he has an Australian accent.
It's just
Boy,
have to these people a shrimp on a Barbie.
G'day, Mothra. Oh, look out! It's Ghidorah.
yo, let me get my stretch in for a moment.
Rocky, you see Radon over there? Fierce creature flies through the air. I'm gonna bite its head off.
Got to charge my nuke breath. Watch out!
I lay back and listen to the ACDC.
Just all going back to Steve Irwin. But I don't know. I find that like the whole Godzilla mythos thing. That's probably one of my favorite. I like just big monster movies. You know what I mean? Like Cloverfield and The
That's a good
Meg
one.
and Troll Hunters and
I need to watch Troll Hunters.
it all stemmed from when I was watching like those really old crappy movies about sea monsters because the Kraken, or like it wasn't the Kraken, but it was a giant squid that was killing people. Poorly made, but I mean, like the whole idea of it is terrifying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so that's why I like games like Stranded Deep and Subnautica, like all from like just watching those shitty films back in the day. Like, it really got me into like just that deep sea exploration, which then further pushed my love for Lovecraftian style games, and movies and all that stuff. Which Lovecraftian has to be the most difficult thing to pull off. I've played hundreds of Lovecraftian games, and like only four or maybe five I can think of that like did it well.
Well, there was one that came out on PS4 that was supposed to be pretty good. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. Huh?
Sinking City.
Yes, that was it.
Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, it's broken a little bit, but like the graphics are good and the idea of it, and like you play as a detective. Like there's a bunch of dialogue options, like you can change like how it goes. But the thing is that it didn't keep that whole if you're okay, so just for an example, if you're running out of items that you need, like bullets or anything like that,
Hmm.
you can because you can free roam the whole city in Sinking City. Um, if you're running out of shit, you can leave the area where you just gathered a bunch of materials. You can leave that area and come right back, like literally just walk right outside the border and come right back in. of that section of the city, and they will all be right back. So you had like just an endless amount of materials and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like, but the game itself, like the visuals, their use of the Lovecraftian, you know, deities, like were definitely on point. I thought the game, as far as the Lovecraftian love letter, would be it's very good, but the game itself is kind of difficult to get into.
Yeah, I know. I went to high school with this girl. She plays it. She recommended it to me, but I never got into it.
I mean, I got a tattoo of Cthulhu. You know what I mean? Like, it's like my favorite tattoo that I got. It was all free formed and this shit, but like just the like little details of the tentacles, and
Yeah,
I think I'm gonna add on to it and kind of give it like a rain, like like a downpour right under him, like right
yeah.
here, like start seeing like a downpour, so it like hides in a fog, like the fear of the unknown kind of thing. I like
Hmm.
that. That's the good stuff.
They need to make a Cthulhu where someone sees him in the distance and they're like, "Oh man, you can see his giant tentacles," and some kind of old
I'd like
man's
to
like,
see a.
"That's not tentacles. That's his pubes."
Has there ever been a really big budget, Hollywood like uh
No.
like movie like that?
There's people who've tried, but like I get it's like the whole idea of it is like the fear of the unknown, things that you can't comprehend, and madness, and like those are like the three like basically keywords of a Lovecraftian thing. But
It's interesting how From Software so often takes inspiration from Lovecraft. Everybody talks about their Berserk inspiration, but they clearly have a lot of Lovecraft inspiration from Bloodborne and even Elden Ring. You know, all of the deities in Elden Ring are these elder gods that are from somewhere that's not the whatever planet the lands between is.
Abriatus, the goddess of the cosmos, was definitely like the best. That one
Mm-hmm.
and Orphan of Kos. Orphan of Kos,
Yeah,
like the whole being an unborn in a sense, or not, or just an orphan.
the moon presence as well.
Moon Presence was cool, yeah. I definitely felt like the whole lore, like the implications of the Orphan of Kos, is what really got me.
Yeah,
That and everyone's like, "This is the hardest boss." I'm like, "Fuck, it is."
it was pretty tough.
Did I show you guys that mod that changes Orphan of Kos into
Oh, yeah,
that
I think I
other?
know what you're talking about.
There's some kind of counting method where you count to four, and you can always Orphan of Chaos cost doesn't go into its second phase.
It's interesting.
You
Yeah, I
count
remember you saying something about that.
like you count like one, two, then you shoot, and then you count to four is when you did the riposte or something like. There's some kind of countdown. You can just keep doing it repeatedly and just defeat a Orphan of cost without the second phase at all. And he actually has no
Yeah.
death animation because he's supposed to be in the second phase.
Hmm. I remember when I finally beat him. I think I no hit the first phase. Like I went through the whole first phase without getting hit, and I was feeling really good. Like, oh man, I think I figured this guy out. And then I did go on to beat him, and I took minimal damage, and I think I only used like 3 blood vials the whole match. I was very satisfied.
I really like just the like for me, Orphan of Kos felt like an equal fight. Like he was just a
Yeah,
very skilled fighter.
it was a fair fight,
Right. Like I
not
even
like Lawrence.
no Lawrence was stupid.
I
I
hate
used a
Lawrence.
summon. That was the first time I relied on a summon to beat someone.
I
Like
did not like Lawrence.
that.
I don't remember him too well. I just remember that lava pours out of his entrails or something like that.
Yeah,
And that's,
Yeah, that was the attack that got me the most.
that was yeah. Because I would dodge the wrong direction, and then he'd be circling me, and I'd be stuck in this circle of lava. Can't do nothing about it. And then couldn't get near him to hit him, so I had to rely on that one guy from the DLC with the whirly gig, and I summoned him, and that got me. It still took me a few tries, and I was just like, "This is stupid." Like I almost didn't want to keep playing. Like I was like, but that DLC is all Lovecraftian. every single detail in the Old Hunters DLC is all Lovecraftian, and that's kind of why Bloodborne will always be like my favorite, is because it just like it has that aesthetic that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
Another game that does a really good job with the Lovecraftian lore and still a couple visuals that really get you is Dredge. I just recently beat that game, and I got both endings, and both endings definitely were equally good. I think the bad ending was definitely a lot scarier.
Yeah, that reminds me. We were speaking of Godzilla a second ago, and they announced a Dave the Diver Godzilla crossover, and they're bringing Dave the Diver to PS5. So that might actually get me to get into that game, maybe.
It's a good game. It's really
Yeah.
relaxing. Like there's intense moments, but it's a very relaxing game. It's very fun to just pick up and put down because you run a
Hmm.
sushi bar. Your whole job is really just to
Catching fish for a sushi bar.
yeah, and it's fun that way. But like there's I literally was just showing I had a girl over earlier. I was just showing her that game. I know it's a great this is a great thing to do when you have a girl over. Oh, check this game out, man. I really like this one.
Oh, look at this!
Yeah, she's in the game, so like it was fun that way. But I was just I just dived too deep in my own conversation, in my own head, basically. And I was showing her Dave the Diver, and when you're in the water, you can find alternate weapons, like different melee weapons and stuff like that. I found boxing gloves, and I'm like, see, you can
Wow.
just punch a fucking fish. Like,
Nice.
what's better than that? You can go box a mega or a fucking great white. I I like Dave the Diver and Dredge because they're gonna have their own cross. I really
Yeah.
like that because they both work perfectly. Dave the Diver has Lovecraftian vibes to it, much more wholesome and happy like, but it's still there. And then Dredge is definitely just Lovecraftian, but like very like the feeling of dread, the feeling that there's always something wrong. That's kind of how Dredge plays. It's still a relaxing game, but it's definitely has that whole like you got ghost ships that are
Yeah.
actually angler fish trying to get you to
Mm.
come nearby and eat you. And there's
Dang.
like all kinds of like sea creatures and stuff. And then there's a giant leviathan if you were
Is that
like,
one on PlayStation?
yes,
I might have to look into that.
yeah, that
um,
one.
Blake, did you have a topic you wanted to bring up?
Yeah. I had read earlier today that Miyazaki had said in an interview that he would be considering stepping back from being director of future FromSoft or Souls-like games. How do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, it's just as long as they're good. I would miss his input though. I mean, definitely. But
I mean,
hopefully,
every single game he's come out with has been amazing for me.
mm,
It's
yeah,
the same thing as the successor for Marvel. It's the same thing as the successor for Berserk. Like I mean, the Miyazaki probably found someone who shares his love for it, and I'm sure there's gonna be some differences, but it's gonna still have that tone just fine. I feel like when you find a successor, you want your image to be still like with a fresh look for sure, but like with like this is like what I want. Just like George Lucas, how like if you're gonna make a Star Wars movie or a game, it has to fit within the timeline. It has to be somewhere that doesn't impede or alternate anything within the thing. So you have to like go through a bunch of like fact checkers basically whenever you make a Star Wars game. So I feel like with Miyazaki dropping down, I'm sure it's going to be someone who stays within the parameters that make it a good game, but with a fresh look.
Because I mean, he is the father of all of our favorite games.
Except
So
Subnautica.
so they're not gonna
what?
they're not gonna go through him on anything. It's basically just letting them on their own.
I mean, maybe. I mean,
Is
I
it
don't
a,
know. I don't know what he means by stepping back from a director role. that means he's like retiring from the company, or if he's just gonna go back to being a regular old dev. I don't know.
Because I mean, it might just be a Batman Forever situation where Tim Burton stepped down from Batman Returns, but his name is still on Batman Forever, just as
Producer.
co-producer, and I believe he's the co-producer of Batman and Robin. I don't know if he was fully removed or not, but it could be something similar to that.
Yeah. I definitely would not look forward to him stepping back. I have to admit, would not look forward to that.
No one looks forward to it, but I'm sure it's not going
Yeah.
to be.
Oh, it's gonna happen. It'll happen. You know. I mean, he's getting older.
The author to Berserk died, but he
Yeah.
entrusted all of what he wanted with his successor. That's the point I'm trying to make, is that like this person has that same love, wants to create it, and he trusts them well enough to take over. But Miyazaki didn't die, so so you still got that physical voice.
Would him stepping back as game director for their future titles, would it affect whether or not you would buy their games day one?
No, I mean, unless it's just very noticeably quite a decline. I mean, if like the first game that came out that Miyazaki was in control of, and I'm like, oh man, I'm not definitely not getting a click here, definitely
This
not
is
getting
not
a
the
good feeling.
FromSoft we come to know and love.
Yeah, it's gonna be my dropping point. Then yeah, heck, Armored Core 6 was the first From Software game I waited on, and it was only because I was afraid I would
Right.
I would buy it but just not
Understandable.
play it, and because it was
Yeah.
totally different. It's not like I
Yeah.
couldn't separate it from Dark Souls. I was just like, it's a mech game. I never really been into mech games that much, so it was more of a precautionary measure.
I love seeing that everyone who starts off with Elden Ring, they're like, "Yeah, I'm playing Dark Souls 3, and that's fucking hard."
Though
that's because he said that everybody that plays Elden Ring, it's their first Souls game. How they go and play Dark Souls 3, and they're like, "Whoa, this is way harder."
Oh,
And that's because everybody that plays Elden Ring for the first time, they're using all of those overpowered tools. They're max leveling their overpowered weapon. They're using Rivers of Blood or Moonveil Katana and other OP weapons, and they're using the Spirit Summons, the Mimic Tier, and they're leveling themselves. They're like, my cousin beat the entire game just using the broadsword, which I think is crazy because I don't like that weapon.
That's funny.
And
I beat Dark Souls 3 was the broadsword and shield.
he beat Elden Ring. Did I say Dark Souls? If I said Dark Souls, I meant to say Elden Ring. He beat Elden Ring with just the broadsword, but he was level 300.
Jeez.
And I was just like, holy shit.
What do you guys think about people that over level and beat the game and say it was easy? It was too easy or something like that, but they refuse to make the game more difficult. But they'll freely make the game easier.
I don't feel like a good gamer because I was level 250 and still struggled.
I stopped leveling at 150 on my first. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Is the sound quality worse?
No, it's fine. Your earbuds died?
Yeah, my earbud just died. Hold on, I'm gonna go get the other one.
I mean, it's not that big of a difference. But yeah, I don't know.
Because that the Michael with the glasses in a group chat, he kept on saying stuff like, "Oh well, Margot's too easy." I'm like, "Oh well, just use a weaker weapon." He's like, "Well, the game should be designed where I shouldn't have to do that." I'm like, "What are you talking about? You can make the game easier. Why can't you make the game harder? That doesn't make any sense."
Exactly. I was gonna say like.
So I just find that it's an odd phenomenon. It's just like, hold on. So you have no problem using spirit summons over leveling yourself. You have that choice to make, but yet with the moment you can make, I mean, obviously you make the game harder. Like, oh, just use this weapon instead. You're unfamiliar with it. And it's something you have to learn a little bit more about the boss fight. Oh no, I can't be bothered to do that. That's too much inconvenience for me. I just the game is built for you to be able to just breeze through it.
Game's built to play however you want.
I mean, and I'm not saying this just you know, mock anyone using that stuff. I'm just saying I'm mocking people that are saying that the game is too easy, but yet they refuse to make the game more difficult for themselves.
So I would say that the game, I mean, if you look at the tools given to you in each of the games,
Mm-hmm.
Elden Ring gives you way more tools than any of the other games by far.
Right.
So if you're going by that, then it is the easiest.
Right.
But like you say, if like one of the conversations around the game was the PvP meta. Should it be 125 like it was in other games, or should it go up to 150 based on just playing the game? If you use your runes from each boss, and all the runes you get from regular enemies going through the levels, you will easily surpass level 150 just by using the runes that you get naturally.
Mm-hmm.
So I settled on 150 for my characters. I won't level up my characters if I plan on using them for PvP past level 150. I won't do it. But I think if you do try to put some of those limitations on yourself, it quickly becomes the hardest, because these enemies have such high health pools. They do such big dick damage, especially in the later stages. I mean, you know exactly what I'm talking about because of the nature of how you're approaching the game. You have to be perfect in your execution, or you're gonna die immediately.
Yeah, if you look close enough, I actually make a lot of mistakes. Like my first defeat for the fire giant, I made so many mistakes. But I had so much knowledge about the boss fight, I was able to recover from those mistakes. I mean, I missed a lot. I believe I was using dual wield at the time, but the fire giant, even people that are overpowered complain about his health being overbloated, and I have to agree with them with that, because in his second
He has a
phase
lot of health.
lasts way too long. I believe his first phase should have that health boost, but his second phase really needs to be lowered, because it's ridiculous how many times you have to dodge the same attacks just to get the
Yeah.
fight over with. It's ridiculous, and it just needs to be toned down a bit. I mean, and even that's even when fighting him the proper way, which is hitting his hands instead of his feet. A lot of people just go behind him and just attack his feet, but you're supposed to attack his hands. And the fight feels better that way. But a lot of people, I guess, they struggle with his attacks with his arms or whatever. And he also has
He
projectiles
has
and
a lot. Yeah.
the combustion
Big
fireball
hit
attacks.
boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went the Guitar Hero route. Like when you're like playing a song in Guitar Hero, if you played on expert first and then you played on hard, it's so much easier.
Yeah.
You're doing every song on hard, but you always started off on expert. So like I beat Melania and then went to go fight the fire giant, beat him on my first try, and I'm like,
there you go.
fuck this guy.
Melania is something different.
I was thinking about, I started use, well, at one moment I was using the freezing pots, and it's incredible how it just cancels the attack entirely. But I believe it only happens if you're fighting her alone, because of course her stats increase with another summon. But
Yeah.
and that's a good way to cancel it if you just don't want to do it entirely. That's what I did it a few times, but then I eventually found a fairly consistent way to just dodge the waterfowl dance without having to roll at all. But you also still got to be a certain distance, and your light
Have
rolling.
you considered using sleep pots?
No, I'm not doing those at all. Does she even
Sleep
fall
pots
asleep?
was one of the. I don't know. Sleep pots was one of the biggest tactics people like to use for the Godskin duo.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm still wondering if I don't. Yeah, it is a very problematic fight, and the Godskin duo still has a lot of big issues, and it is because it's just. I feel like the way you learn how to fight them isn't properly well done.
I agree.
Especially with the
Because
whole the inconsistencies with the pillars is a huge problem, because the nobles.
I think their shared health pool is an issue.
Yeah, you think they should have Godskin nobles should have a separate life bar from the apostle?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be better instead of just them coming back like the Four Kings. I think that worked better for the Four Kings. It doesn't work for the Godskin duo.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I mean, I wish it would work well. It's just you eventually just kind of create a very linear way to fight them because you had to kill
Yeah.
one of them first, then fight
Yep.
the other one by itself. Make sure you
And
kill
so
them before the other one
frustrating
comes
when the
back
first
in.
one comes back.
Yeah, I mean, and also you can't to make sure that one of them is not off camera because he can still shoot a fireball at you and you're done
Hmm.
for, and it's just tragic. But
Yeah.
the noble rolling, why are the middle pillars the safe spot? Why is that some kind of fluke? Is that an oversight? It's just not. It doesn't make any sense. It was as well as other attacks in Elden Ring where the method of evading it doesn't make any sense. The game doesn't teach you any other way. um, it doesn't show anything different or it has no reference. So how, like with going back to the Elder Stars attack, there's been no reference on dodging anything like that, where you start running to the Elden Beast's left side and wrap around, and all of a sudden the Elder Stars attack is too far away to shoot anything at you. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, I've done it.
Yeah, I agree.
I hate it. I hate doing it that way. But you could say, oh, we just got to learn the stagger rhythm. That way he doesn't do the attack. I'm like, well, I mean, sure, but it would be much more satisfying if you just dodged, projectiles that weren't constantly coming at you. It's just too
Yeah.
chaotic. It just needs to be reduced to where it's reasonable and satisfying.
It
And it's
feels
moments like those that they're expecting you to use things like the Flask of Wonders physic, because there's so many different combinations with the cracked tiers, like the one that gives you a shield that protects you from the first hit or something like that. And then they put outright a cracked tier especially for Moog's special blood attack.
Hold on a second.
I hate that people rely on scripted fighting. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, just do it in this pattern. Like,
Hmm.
how does that feel like a real fight? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
let me just do everything in like a set way, so that way I can beat this fight. It's like, why not just beat it on accident? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I've had so many fights. Like recently, oh fuck, what game was I playing? I was playing Liza P. I was playing Liza P. And
You need to get on that, Zach. It's a good game, man. The level design is not an issue.
It's on my list. I just have so many other things on my
Right, right, right,
list.
right.
but I finally beat finally I think I was actually on the headset with you, Blake, when I
Hmm.
beat uh, Simon,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, like just barely beat him, but like after quite a few tries, and I was like, and it was kind of on accident, but like at that end, like my heart was racing, and I'm just like, oh my god, like this is gonna be it, you know what I mean? And like sitting there and like trying to dodge and parry and like do all this stuff to like get in there, and then I just found that one last opening, and I went in there and I got greedy with it, and it paid off because because he hit me as I hit him on that last hit, and I had just enough health, and I won.
Mm.
Like fuck, dude, it was like my 30th try right there.
Have you guys?
He's not as hard as Laxatia, but it's still hard. Then there's another boss that I won't spoil for anybody, but it's fucking stupid hard. I haven't beat that one yet.
In Elden Ring, have you guys noticed attack dodging, attack evasions? For
The
example, when you attack and you crouch for a moment, and that allows you to avoid certain attacks. Have you guys done that? Have you guys noticed that?
I haven't crouched and avoid attacks, but I've jumped and avoided attacks.
Well, it's like you know what I'm talking about when you attack, like you do a jump attack, and
Yeah,
in the recovery animation you start out
you duck
crouching
down.
and then you
I
slowly
yeah,
rise
I see
up.
what you're
That
saying.
that small little moment where you're crouching of
Yeah,
a boss, you could totally miss an attack from a boss fight. And
yeah, I have had that.
I don't recall that being in the previous game, but it just works in Elden Ring this way, unless I'm just totally forgetting about
I
something from Dark Souls
I
3.
want to say that I maybe had seen that in Dark Souls 3, because uh I used a lot of the Fugs, the Fume Ultra Greatsword, and I used that a lot in Dark Souls 3. And a couple of its attacks have going down really low after a swing. And I do want to say that maybe that it did work. I can't confirm it 100%, but some sort of a recollection of it. I feel like.
It's a very interesting aspect because I remember first time I noticed it was with Margot because I started using this one attack. Once I saw it, I'm like, okay, if I go now and attack, his that follow up attack will miss me completely, and it was oddly satisfying because I'm like, man, I don't know if I just never noticed it before in the other games, but it's
Yeah.
definitely a good way to utilize and punish. It's happened with me with Millennia. I attacked her, and as I was crouching, she's totally her attack totally missed me. It doesn't it doesn't works about half the time, but it's very interesting seeing it work. It's just more of a luck thing. Like, oh, if it gets me, it gets me. And sometimes you just got to take a chance on your try. Stupid
Yeah, I
cats.
always found that like when you do a horizontal attack on like a small enemy, like a rat or something or a dog, how you can miss because you just
Hmm.
with them. I feel like it's
Yep.
just the same aspect because they're using the iframes to actually make contact with you.
Because I'm guessing your hitbox, it goes down with you as you're crouching.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be. It's probably like how it works. It's just equivalent to like making your stature as a rat or a dog.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
for just even a second.
I wanted to bring up the Jackass game real quick.
Go ahead.
That
Is
game
that what
is
you're
yeah, that's what I've been playing here recently. I recorded like three challenge videos that I made for myself. I deleted one because I noticed that someone actually did it on just a playthrough. They just casually did it all the challenges in one attempt. I'm like, okay, well that makes mine not as special. So I actually deleted it from my channel because the other two I have on there haven't been done, at least from what I've seen. And it's got an interesting save system on Jackass the game. It actually it allows you to toggle autosave on and off, and that allows me to save it before I start a challenge because if I achieve a challenge, then it stays saved as complete because
Hmm.
it allows you to just restart and then get the other challenges completed. So what I do is I save it, and then if I fail, I just reload the game. And the reloading is super fast in Jackass the game for a PS2 game. It's really fast, and so
if it's not scratched?
yeah, I guess so. But I highly recommend it if you guys, haven't played it. I mean, if it
I
looks,
actually do have it in my box
you do
set.
have it. Have you finished it?
No, I kind of just played around.
I
I
don't have a
like.
PS2 anymore, so I can't play it.
Oh,
I don't have a
you gotta get
PS2 right
PS2
now.
I
or
I
should.
PSP. Do you have a PSP?
No, I had a PS Vita a few years ago, but I sold it.
But actually, the Jackass, the game for PSP, allows you to mess with the replays with the different camera angles. But they didn't do it for the PS2 for whatever reason.
How much did they have to, change to get the game to run on PSP? Is it basically the same game or how much
Oh, I don't know.
different?
I haven't played it on PSP, so I don't know how different it
Okay.
is. I just know it has a film director,
Right.
like the driver games. You
Hmm.
can make your own episodes.
That's pretty cool.
Stuntman.
But
You
they,
guys play Stuntman?
what is it? Oh, I have it. I played a little bit of it. I need to play some more of it.
Stuntman is probably like I feel like the way that you like to play games, Stuntman is like perfect. You know what I mean? Because you're sitting there, you have your parameters, but you can add more. And because you have that replay video and stuff like that, like you can save the videos.
Hmm.
Be like, look, like here's my parameters, but I did it so much smoother. Stuntman 2 Ignition um makes you required to do that if you want 5 stars because it has a rating system. So what you have to do in Stuntman 2 is like every second you have to be doing something near misses, drifting, and your parameter parts too, and keeping it within the time frame. But like the original Stuntman doesn't have that ranking system. It just gives you like you can fuck up this many times, and if you keep fucking up, then you can't win. But to do it so smoothly is satisfying. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like you get no rewards for it. It doesn't give you more points or nothing like that. But it's just the fact that Stuntman has is like perfect for self-imposed challenges. You know what I mean? Like I find each one like whether I'm like whether I just did this like perfectly long drift, but it like worked perfectly with like that scene in the movie. Like I find one to be a lot more fun when it like Snowman 2 Ignition has all kinds of crazy stuff, and it's a lot of fun too. But the first one was definitely like has that like self-imposed challenge that I gave myself as a kid. That was like the first game that I ever played. That was like I have to do it this way. I have to pull off that specific drift, even though it is not required. I have to pull it off. You know what I mean? Because it
Mhm.
just makes that scene look so much smoother, and I feel so much cooler.
Have you played Hot Wheels Crash?
Yeah.
Is that it kind of reminds me of that, but of course you have no control of the vehicle. You just got to charge it. You got to find the right charge and angles to achieve the crashing stunts or whatever. I thought that was the coolest thing when I was a kid playing that on the PC.
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever got everything. I think I'm pretty sure I had the full game, but I wasn't. I don't think I was able to complete everything 100%, for whatever reason. I can't remember, um, but going back to Jackass, it's funny. On PS3, they released a game called Pain, and it's a slingshot game. Basically, you pick a character, you slingshot them into the open area that you have, and cause as much destruction as possible. You actually have a grab mechanic. You can grab onto things, and it helps continue the chaos. And incredible soundtrack. I believe it's been delisted. From what I understand, it might be
No, but
wrong.
I'm gonna make some burritos here in a little bit.
The
I heard that.
the physical release.
I'm still on the phone, baby. Go.
Okay, fine. Come here. She wants you guys to see her.
Oh, hello.
Hey.
Okay, Nancy's gone. All right, go on, baby.
did
Oh,
you buy her my book?
Not yet, dude. I intend on doing that. I do.
But
I
I'll do
barely
it.
have enough money for anything right now.
I'm sorry.
I was like, I barely have enough money for anything
Oh
right
no,
now.
it's fine. No pressure.
I do
Um,
want to get. I think of reading it to my because I'm starting to get my son. Like I stopped letting us watch like YouTube or shows at night. So when I put him to sleep, I've been switching between reading books and singing to him
oh good.
because I feel like it's a little bit more heartfelt than just
I
like
like
falling
that.
asleep to the
Yeah,
TV. You know.
I was. Me and my wife and my son were out trying to find a dishwasher because ours broke. It's 20 years old. It came with the house,
Mm,
and we were at a some kind of appliance store, and we were talking to the sales lady, and he was getting tired and hungry, and he started whining, and my wife pulled out the phone and was going to pull up like the Wiggles or something. I was like, no, 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 we're not doing that. We're not going to turn our kids into some kind of tablet kid or something like that. So I just basically just pick them up and carry them off and just kind of point at things and keep them entertained that way. It's just something more organic to the area to keep because it just allows him to open himself up creatively instead of just relying on a screen, you know.
Hmm.
Like don't get me wrong, I let him play on his. I got him a phone so he could play Call of Duty with his mom,
Wow.
or it's my old phone
Oh
with
wow,
him.
that's cool.
Yeah, so he plays that, and I limit that decently well, unless I'm just having an absolutely lazy day. Then whatever,
Mm.
like we'll just sit there and play games, but we'll do it together. Um, and then he's got his tablet, which has all the kids stuff on it, which is pretty cool that he gets into because it's a lot of music-based stuff. So he's actually learning rhythm and does pretty cool with that. Those are about the things that I rely or not rely on, but like those are like the things that I'm okay with the electronics. Um, Only recently have I been like trying to make like because when I started singing to him, like he fell asleep very quickly. I don't know if you guys ever listened to the band Never Shout Never.
I've heard of them. I haven't listened to them since like high school.
Yeah, it was definitely high school, but like when he was born, um, I was letting his mom rest, after giving birth and everything like that. He wouldn't stop crying because she couldn't produce milk at least in that time, and so he wouldn't stop crying. And they said they recommend that we don't use formula, so I just tried to like walk around the hospital with him while she slept. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning. And I'm sitting there and I got like my pinky in his mouth and I'm singing "Happy" by Never Shout Never. And I just recently kind of remembered that memory, and so I tried it again. Obviously, didn't put my finger in his mouth because he's 5, but but I sang that song to him, and "You Are My Sunshine," and then "On the Bright Side," which is another "Never Shout Never" song. And so I sang those three songs, just kept rotating through them. And after I got done with singing "On the Bright Side," because I sang all three of them. Well, once I got to "On the Bright Side," I realized he's been asleep this entire fucking time. At first, he hated it. He's like, because I was just singing "You Are My Sunshine," and he's like, "Don't sing." And then I'm like, "All right, I won't." And then, just a moment later, he's like, "You want to sing the song about the sunshine?" It was definitely rewarding being a father.
Yeah, that's what my wife sings to our son to get him to calm down. Is "You Are My Sunshine."
I have sung that to all three of my children.
Wow, how about that?
Yeah,
I've also
my
found,
mom used to sing it to me.
yeah, my
Hmm.
mom used to sing it to me too, and I always found that I just never really thought of it, like being a single father,
Get out of the fridge, Ruby.
I figured I'd try some new stuff, because I don't want my son to just remember me as the guy who we're just sitting here playing games. Like I want heartfelt memories. Which I mean, I find those usually during the summer times and whatnot. Winter times, because I struggle financially working in concrete. I don't really have the mental balance to just find all of these things because I'm thinking about other stuff. But I tried that one, and yeah, I don't even know how we got on this topic, but yeah, I really like how the whole change of that, feeling like you're connecting with your child one way or another, giving them fond memories and all that, and that's pretty cool.
Yep.
But watching you, Zach, with all of how you and your child are, it really warms my heart. Because I told you right before you're gonna have a kid, I was like, you're gonna do a lot better than you think you will.
Yeah,
And
it's
coming to
just
your, I was right.
I just kind of when I just realized I had a responsibility and I just acted on it and it
Yeah,
just came naturally. So it's just like when I needed to change his diaper for the first time, I just did it.
yeah,
It's not like, oh, I don't feel like doing it. I'm like, no, it's what I need to do. So I'm like,
yeah. No, I mean it was just it's like your natural instincts. Like it does,
yeah,
taking care of someone, anyone, even if it's your father saying that you need to wipe his ass, but you're probably not gonna think of it that way. You know what I mean? It's like this is something I get to do
hmm
that he got to do for me when I was a child. Now I get to do it for him when he needs it. I am
yeah,
not doing that right now. I was just saying I would imagine the instinctual urge to do something for a loved one kind of just plays without you even realizing it.
yeah. And we'll need our children for the future because when you're on your deathbed, you're slipping away. You'll want someone that you've been with all your life.
Yeah.
Well, not all your life, but someone that you've raised and someone that respects you and you earn their respect. And I don't see. It's kind of depressing imagining someone that doesn't have any children and they're just slipping away alone in the hospital, and you just have a nurse there that probably doesn't care about you at all, only just their job. So it's just. And of course, there's you got people that lost their children somehow, unfortunately, and that happens to them anyway. But usually if you have kids, they're there until the end with you.
The
Yep.
funniest statement I've heard is that having a child is a selfless act. It is probably the most selfish act you can make, honestly. I am creating me. I love me. You know what I mean? You're
Yeah.
giving back.
Yeah,
This is just me.
like the ultrasounds for my second child. Another I'm having another boy. He looks like me. I'm creating another clone of myself.
Yeah.
I told my wife, I'm like, you love me so much, you had to create two copies of me.
Yeah.
We would love to have a girl one day. It just looks like I just have nothing but boys, boys in my pocket.
She, as you guys talked about getting her tubes tied, or you
No,
getting a vasectomy.
no, that hasn't come across yet. We don't know how many kids we want. We just know we're definitely gonna have two, and we want to at least try one more time for a girl.
Yeah.
We would love to have a girl, and it would be great because she'll have two older brothers there.
Right.
You
You
know.
just want an army. A little army of children.
After our third one, my wife was like, she said, "I'm done. You tie those tubes. Tie them up. No more."
Yeah, that was definitely quite a journey from Jackass to Children.
Yeah, I don't know how like got into that, like, but
What?
that's what bullshitting does.
So you guys, I know you guys had to have heard here recently about those Xbox bringing those 4 first-party titles over to PlayStation and Switch, right?
Hmm.
It was Pentiment, Sea of Thieves, Hi-Fi Rush, and Grounded. First of all, are you do you plan on getting any of those games for PlayStation, Zach?
Probably Hi-Fi Rush looks the most interesting.
Yeah, I
But
probably won't. But what were you gonna say, Alex?
Grounded is cool.
Yeah.
Pentiment, I have it downloaded and I want to try it, but I don't know nothing about it yet.
Yeah.
But I heard that one's good.
Well, the Xbox fans are really, really a lot of them don't like it, and a lot of them are hoping and saying, yeah, it's no big deal. But
It really isn't a big deal. They're
what
not
do you guys? What do you get? Well, I mean, it opens the door for the big titles like Starfield and Indiana Jones and Hellblade 2 to potentially come down the pipe. And if that happens, then you're really devaluing your console.
Yeah.
PlayStation
So,
have Starfield.
but the reason I'm bringing that up is because Helldivers 2 just released day and date on PC and PS5, and has found enormous success on PC. So, what do you think about Sony putting all of their first party games day and date on PC along with uh, PlayStation day one?
For me, that works because I have a PC and don't have a PS5.
Yep.
Or do I have the means to get one right now?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, now that the prices are normal, I can't get it. But I could have gotten it if when the prices were high. It was stupid, but that's fine. I actually enjoy my Xbox quite a bit. But playing this PC, I've like learned to like love on a much different scale. Like
Yeah.
there's so many $2, $1, $5 games on Steam that are just utterly like 2 hours long, but the best experiences I've had in gaming. You know what I mean? Like they're just so
Yeah.
simple. Like there's this one game. Speaking of Lighthouse, there's this one game I'm playing saying no one lives under the lighthouse, and that's a trip. That is it's like graphics are terrible, but it doesn't devalue its experience whatsoever. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like it's like finding those little niche indie games. Like one guy just made this game. It's only 4 hours long, and I've had like the best time. Um, when me and uh, I had my headphones on, and I was playing um, this game from Chilla's Art. Have you ever heard of any of those games?
That sounds familiar.
Markiplier plays them. Jacksepticeye plays them. Like
Okay. I've watched a little bit of Markiplier, so maybe that's where I've seen it.
right. So there's these games called Chilla Arts, right? And it's just that's the director. It's Chilla's Art, or the developer or whatever you want to call him. But he makes all of these 4 hour long games, all under $10. Um, I was playing one called Night Security, and I had to force myself to push through that game. It was so utterly fucking terrifying. But it's just like so
Steam
okay,
seems to be the home for lots of indie horror games.
yeah. And I don't mean to digress the conversation. I still remember my point. So with like being able to play like PlayStation games on my PC, that's
Yeah.
great. I'm not very good with emulators and I don't know how to work them, but I go through Steam and I find classic PlayStation games and I download them, because they're cheap.
Yeah.
Like I've really enjoyed the versatility in just PC itself. I know like PC is a very much more unreasonable thing to get, and if my cousin didn't build it for me, I wouldn't have one. But it's just like the fact that with PlayStation going into PC, I now have like access to all of these games that I can taint with my Xbox controller. And that's what
Yeah.
I'm going to do. because I
So
have Xbox controlled to my
I
Steam.
wouldn't really, as a primarily PS5 user, I would rather than keep their single player story driven games as sort of a, the timed exclusivity is fine. You know how Horizon Forbidden West is coming to PC next month. That's 2 years after the fact. I don't care. But
An
like,
initial release, day ones should stay exclusive.
yeah, but like Helldivers being a games as a service game, having that PC community at the jump is really important for the success of the game. So I'm kind of on the fence of about, you know I'm kind of where, live service games would be cool day and date, but single player ones maybe keep that 1 to 2 year window of only being on the console, because you're going to have people, because I think that was a big mistake Xbox made, was having every single one of their first party games day and date on PC and along with the console. It,
Yeah,
it,
but
it just
you have to have an Xbox account to play them on PC.
the Game Pass, right,
Well, just you know, Xbox Live
right.
membership. You don't have to have Game Pass specifically to like buy the Xbox games.
But would that affect how you feel about PlayStation at all, Zach, or buying their games, or would you switch to PC?
Um, PC. Um, like I said, I've had many problems with PC, but uh, that's you kind of have to fork a lot into a PC to keep it up,
Yeah,
and that's really my biggest thing. And it kind of starts feeling. The feeling once I start having the sensation that something is being a scam, I really start backing off from it, especially with phones where you feel like you're obligated to upgrade every year. I definitely don't. Any
yeah,
TVs, oh, I must get the 80-inch now. Oh, now time to get the 90-inch, and I love saving money, and anything that's causing me to lose money with stuff that's well enough alone, you know, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Why just keep forking out money for something you already have, but it's just a smaller
I agree.
version, or some kind of weaker version of that simply doesn't matter. Uh, it's like my uncle bought a phone, and I tease him a lot. He had a flip phone, had a camera on it, but then he bought another phone that didn't have a camera on it. I was like, oh, looks like you got a downgrade. He was like, what are you talking about? It's a new phone. I'm like, no, I mean, I understand you just got it, but it's a downgrade. It's not. It doesn't have a camera, therefore it is. It does. It wasn't a negative thing. I was just letting him
That's
know it was
funny.
a downgrade. It's a brand new phone. I bought it today. I'm like, I guess you. Here's the thing. Downgrade is different. Upgrade is different from new. It's not the same thing. Sometimes it could
That's
be.
hilarious.
Sometimes it can mean the same thing, but for this situation, it's not the same thing. You simply got to like if you go into a GameStop
Yeah,
and you buy a PS4, and the
right.
PS5 is out, and someone's like, "Oh man, I got me a brand new PlayStation. It's awesome." Oh, so you just
Yeah.
decide to go with a downgrade then? He's like, "Wait, Tomo, I just bought it today." I'm like, "No, you got the PS5, and that's just the upgrade." Wait, Tomo,
Oh
this
my goodness,
I, I love telling that story,
that's
but
hilarious.
yeah, but yeah,
He's not in his room. He's in the bathroom.
I think exclusivity is very very important, and
Yeah,
memory is also very important to me. I think cherishing memories keeps the mind healthy. Like I went to a local game store I've never been before the other day. That's where I got all those PS2 games, and
right.
I was even talking to the store owner. I was like, I could easily go on eBay and buy these games, but the reason why I come here is because I'll remember it for a long time. I'll look at the copy of Jackass I got, and I had the receipt in it, also as a bonus reminder. And I'll remember the day I came in here. I was with my wife, I was with my child. It was funny. My child wanted to hold on to the Jackass cover for whatever reason. He loves that case, and every time I took it away from him, he just started crying. It didn't affect him with the other cases he didn't really care for, but it was something about that Jackass case. It was really appealing to him, and
Yeah,
because
the crutches and the skull is
mm-hmm,
classic.
You have
and
the case just black, don't you?
do I know?
You have the case that's the artwork that's just black with the skull
Correct.
and bone.
the reason I don't want the greatest hits versions anymore because they're a downgrade of the manual. The manual is a downgrade. Twisted Metal Black, for example, if you get the greatest hits version of Twisted Metal Black, you get a basic manual. You do not get that journal.
Yeah.
Ooh.
No, I've noticed that with all my greatest hits games. Like and they're actually much more for a trader's standpoint. The greatest hits ones are actually like significantly less in
See,
quality.
this is the manual you get. I don't know if it'll pop in or not. Yeah.
No, the blue, the green.
Yeah. Okay. I got to put it in front of me. All
There
right.
you go. Yeah.
All right. So, well, heck, I got my face has got to be in the screen. Okay. All right. So this is the basic manual you get with the greatest hits. It's just Sweet Tooth, and it also shows Twisted Metal Online on the other side. Yeah.
Yeah, I see it.
And so inside of this, it's just basic. Shows you the controls and everything, and like you can see that. Make sure I'm getting everything in here. Just your basic manual design. And now the original release of Twisted Metal Black has this.
Yeah,
It's
way better.
It's thicker, and it's got a lot more character in it. It's got like pieces of newspaper talking about Sweet Tooth.
Yeah.
And all about information about the characters, artwork that you don't get in the game.
Those manuals are one of the things I miss most about video games. They don't do it anymore.
Yeah. PlayStation.
I only had like a QR code inside of it. That was your whole manual.
PlayStation 1 games, their manuals when the greatest hits for PlayStation 1 games come out, they're black and white. The original release is in color, and that's why they're able to reduce the cost for greatest hits release.
I remember the manuals inside the PS1 cases being so thick it was hard to close the case.
Sometimes it would break the little holder for the manuals.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. You're exactly right. I remember.
So that's
them really like sitting on the toilet. I didn't have a phone. And just sit there and read my manual.
I remember reading the Resident Evil 4 manual when I was in the bathroom. Yeah.
It's such a fond memory, and they like take it away.
Get out of there, Ruby.
Yes, convenience is not always good, and that I hate it when I see something that's gradually gaining convenience because the more conveniences we have, the less memory we'll have, and that's very important to me. I'll inconvenience myself just so I can remember something.
That explains your whole entire fucking persona.
Yep.
Why you play Dark Souls that way?
Mm-hmm. And try to play other games like Dark Souls. Not like in a very, typical way you would think. It's just more of like applying the game's his own individual rules as if it was something like Dark Souls. Like with Jackass. Jackass the game. I want to see if it's possible to complete all the challenges in one attempt. If it is, I'll go for it. And if it's possible, awesome. But I've developed some kind of way so I don't get disappointed. It definitely took some getting used to, but I feel like it's important for me to find out if these things are possible. Like with Wolverine's Revenge, I'm like, is it possible to defeat these bosses without taking damage? Well, now we know it is possible. You can't necessarily Google it. Maybe you can. It might pop up on Google somewhere, but
Reddit forums or something.
Do I know?
Probably have that information in Reddit forums or Discord.
I don't know. It might pop up in a Reddit forum one day saying, "Hey, some dude went and defeated these bosses without taking damage." And someone actually did create a Reddit forum about video uploads I made, and it was for Twisted Metal Black, the cutscene music, and they had my link in there and everything. That's the first time I've seen a Reddit page about me, and that was awesome.
Was it flattering?
Yeah, I appreciated it. But unfortunately,
no, I mean, were they being flattering or were they being?
Oh, it wasn't a huge response. Maybe a few people responded to it. Unfortunately, that link is broken because that was the link that I deleted because I thought YouTube was being stupid, and they were going to charge people for something silly. You know, I regret deleting a lot of my videos, especially my old Dark Souls PvP videos. I really miss those because I would love to be able to see how I used to fight. And plus, I don't PvP anymore, and I would just love to be able to just rewatch my old stuff. But YouTube unfortunately doesn't allow you to re-upload stuff. They don't keep a database, I guess, or either they do, they just don't allow people to access it.
Yeah.
I have a
There
feeling that
probably
it's got to
is
be some.
database.
There's got to be some way. Maybe one day in the future, YouTube will be like, "Hey, if you've deleted videos in the past, well, here's a
If you
special
paid a
folder
fee,
for it. Yeah, pay a fee. I would gladly pay a fee if I can get all my Dark Souls PvP
or
videos.
what if you had what's the premium YouTube called? YouTube Red or something? What is it
I
called?
think it used to be called YouTube Red. Now it's just YouTube Premium.
Yeah. Are you subscribed to that?
Yep.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
it's good for background music because you don't have to have the YouTube app.
Yeah, because when I'm at work, I like to listen to podcasts and videos just to kind of keep my mind occupied.
I like listening to those one YouTubers like Markiplier or Jacksepticeye, but it would be like rating every Spider-Man game worst to best. Like I find those just kind of satisfying because you get to go through
Yeah.
that nostalgic fit of remembering all the games and like
Yeah, I listen to some videos about dudes that they'll make tier lists out of Elden Ring weapons, or they'll rank the bosses from worst to best. I like listening to stuff like that.
Yeah, those are pretty fun. I like watching. There's this one specific guy. I don't remember the YouTuber's name, but I think it's like something albino. But he ranks all of the bosses for all souls and souls likes, and he's actually really funny about it. He's like, and this guy's just gonna pancake your ass like if I, but something albino. He's definitely a pretty entertaining guy to like, because he'll go through like all the Neo bosses. He'll go through all the Surge bosses and
Yeah, all the Souls likes.
right, yeah, and it's pretty entertaining because it's not just some guy reading a script. Like it's like he has jokes, and I find that when someone has like that charisma, that they don't just sound like, because I can't just listen to some guy monotone describe a game. You know what I mean? Like this is so
Right.
fucking boring. That's why I get into like Kadikarus or Catacaris or whatever. I can't pronounce it right now, but or Markiplier or like them, because like with Markiplier and Jacksepticeye, like yeah, they're all mainstream and all that stuff. But one thing you notice that they don't do,
Markiplier's funny.
yeah, but it's like the one thing you notice that they don't do, they don't push an agenda. They're there to play a game, and you are there to watch them be themselves while playing a game. You know what I mean? Like, but you look at other influencers, and they always talk about like like I don't mind the sponsors, the sponsor ads, that they'll do for the
Yeah, they're trying to make some money.
yeah, and that's fine. I mean, Markiplier and Jacksepticeye don't have to do that shit, and that's nice. But it's just like I don't even mind the ads. But when it's like I don't know, it almost feels like it's forced. Like a lot of YouTubers do that. Like you could tell a lot of YouTubers are trying to dive into the trend of like having someone that they're trying to or having someone's opinion or having someone's certain thing that they're just trying to push into you, and you're not sitting there watching them just enjoy the game. You know what I mean? Like you want to see, like that's why I think Markiplier is so successful, is because he just does what he wants. You know what I mean? He's not sitting here like having all of these crazy like things that he's trying to promote. Like he promotes the game that he plays. You know what I mean? That's it. He's just promoting this Chilla's art or something like that. And like now a bunch of people want to go play it because they see that it's actually kind of fun and very interesting. And but like he was just enjoying it. Like seemed interesting to him, so he did it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so going back to like the influencer thing, it's just like you hear these people with these monotone scripted, like it's good to be scripted, but it's like
Yeah.
no character. You know what I
I
mean?
understand what you mean.
Yeah, just hearing this dull, regurgitated opinion that you hear all the time, and like it just feels like everyone sees these opinions and then they just do the same fucking thing with no difference in opinion. It's just pushing what is popular.
Yeah.
Did you see that one guy that got so lazy that he designed an AI to create his own content?
Yeah,
I did see that. Yeah.
yeah, that's
It was
That's
so bad.
pretty awful. And he'll get views.
Mm-hmm.
There's rappers right now who are using AI to fuel their entire career. Like
Yep.
they could not write music by themselves. Like I
AI is the godsend for uncreative people.
yeah, like I mean, I don't know. It's just like I have my own content when I make music. You know what I mean? Everything. Some of it sounds a little disjointed, even at times. You know what I mean? Sometimes having a harder time following my topic, depending on my song, and I tend not to release them when it goes to that. But there's a couple that I have, but it's still me. You know what I mean? Like this is my extent of work. Then there's nothing else pushing that. You know what I mean? Like this is just what I want to do. And with AI, everyone's just being an AI, you know? Everyone just has their artificial intelligence now.
I like using the image generator and just seeing my funny ideas come to life.
Oh yeah, no, that's fun.
Like the
Yeah,
Godzilla getting that lady pregnant, the old lady pregnant.
yeah, that stuff's fun. But when you use it for content that you're
Yeah.
trying to promote, like it's so dumb. Like it's just the fact that like where is the character? Like you look at artists or influencers that are famous and you like them because that's them. Like they have a theme. You know what I mean? When you listen to System of Down, you're
Yeah.
not going to listen to a Disturbed song saying, "Oh, this is System of Down." You know what I mean? Like no, there are two different sound, same genre but totally different sounds. You know that is their unique sound, and it's like people don't grasp that with creation. Like you have your own twist and your own limits. Your own limits are actually what makes things better. You know what I mean? Like I
Some
know my limits.
some people are speculating that Madam Web was created with AI, which is why it's so bad.
Oh, I'm certain there is a little bit of AI involved in it.
I
What was
mean,
that? There was something recently that came out that was a lot of like it got a lot of flack for being AI. Does that sound familiar to you? Like
no.
something like maybe it was a game or a movie or something, but something was AI generated, or it took a lot of AI generation to make it.
I'm not sure.
Fuck, I can't remember. Just reading this too. I think it was like some new animated looking game, like a cartoony looking game, but it was Power World. Right. Power World a lot of people are saying is AI generated. With
I could see that, but I don't know.
parts to it that seem like that. Most definitely. Like I know that their monsters are all AI generated. They didn't
Really,
there no yeah, no artistic value in the monsters. But I mean
I did
the
not know
ideas
that.
behind them is a lot of fun. That to me, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
to me, I like how all your monsters have utilities. Like you can use one to get across the water. You can use one to glide. You know, you can use one to roast your fire. You know, like it's a fun concept.
and then the rest can run your sweatshop.
Yeah. Yep.
It's
Well,
it's it's a pretty fun game.
we need to go ahead and wrap up. We are probably, I think, a little over 2 hours now.
I think we're over 3 hours.
3 hours?
Yeah, I
I
think
think
we started at noon.
Let me check my
Noon
recording.
for me. Sorry, noon
2
for
hours
me.
and 30 minutes. Yeah, about three.
real quick, Zach. Before we go, earlier you were wanting to talk about your progress in Armored Core. I would really love to hear that.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I'm still enjoying the game very much. There's just some moments where a mission pops up. I'm like, oh, it's that kind of mission, and I'll like kind of back off for a little bit. It's not, yeah, it's not like getting bored of the game or anything like that. It's
Yeah,
just sometimes I just don't feel like dealing with a certain situation.
I
Like
understand.
you got these, because here's the thing: I hate projectiles. I'm not a projectile fan. I don't like bullet hell,
Yeah,
and so when I get hit by a projectile, I get very bothered by it because I'm like, okay, well, how could I have avoided that? It's not like I'm getting struck by a sword and all I have to do is just look for a telegraph. With a
and
projectile,
you're using the reverse joint legs,
I,
right?
I guess so. Whatever makes my robot thinner, it's just
Yeah.
what I was going with. So, I let's see, I defeated that duo, the duo whatever mechs. I don't think I'm at a boss
Sometimes
right now.
they will that sometimes, especially in New Game Plus cycle, but sometimes they will throw in surprises and twists at the end of mission,
Okay. I'll definitely.
especially in New Game Plus. I really can't wait for you to get to the giant ice worm thing boss fight at the end of chapter 4. I can't wait. I can't wait to hear what your thoughts on it is, because it might be my favorite encounter in the whole game.
What got me to get really what pushed me back into Armored Core 6 was you know that every series that I have for the From Software lineup, where I find the parry tutorial for every game, and the other one was optical instrument, like binoculars and um, telescopes. Did you guys see those
Yeah.
videos?
I don't think so.
I'll have to send them to you, I guess. I even
Yeah.
posted them on the group. But the first one, I didn't apply a whole lot of challenges. It was just more like it was more brief compared to the optical instrument. Optical instrument, I incidentally made the challenges too long. I think that's probably why it suffered a lot more than the parry tutorial one, because I was doing stuff like jump attacks only with the skeletons, and I had to develop a
Right.
rhythm. It was really fun. I loved what I achieved in it, but I just felt
Yeah.
like it was too long for people to watch. But my next one, it motivated me to get back in Armored Core 6, because there's actually an element that has appeared in every single game, including Armored Core 6. I'm like, oh, I definitely got to get this down and get that out there so I can show people, like, hey, did you know that this element is pretty much straight through? I won't spoil it, but I definitely can't wait to get
Yeah, I
started
will
on
look
that.
forward to that.
All
I'm
right.
glad you're still enjoying the game.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm not disliking it. It's just I kind of had to be in the mood for it. I enjoyed skating around and destroying robots. The sound effects are spectacular. The visuals.
Yeah.
Do
you use the sword? Do you use that energy sword they give you at the
I
beginning?
don't use the sword anymore. I use more like some kind of bazooka.
Oh, okay.
The sword, I found that the sword tracking wasn't really that great, and sometimes if I miss with it, it bothers me too much. So I just try to stay away from it.
You do use a melee weapon though?
No, I usually just use the bazooka
okay.
in my left hand, a large bazooka,
I got you.
and then a machine gun on the right.
Yeah.
And then
shoulder weapon?
Yeah, I use shoulder weapons, and I use specific ones to where it confuses the AI.
Okay.
Yeah, because I practice around a lot, and whatever catches them off guard is what I utilize more of. And I think I found something. Yeah, of course the enemies are always changing, so I'm having to change my weapon. That's how the game is designed. It's just you're constantly having to change things up. I mean, I've only have one mech loadout that I have. I need to start experimenting on changing things out some. That's those are just Plan Bs and Cs and Ds I haven't gotten to.
Right, I got you.
But yeah, how many chapters are in Armored Core 6?
5.
5? Okay. So I'm in chapter 3, and you said 4 was the longest one?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That the hardest Armored Core game is Last Raven.
Yeah, Armored Core 6 is not anywhere near as the hardest Armored Core game.
Yeah, I heard that one was like frustratingly hard.
Yeah, it's like unfair.
Yeah, like you have to be perfect. Like you basically have to beat bosses like Zach does.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the entirety of that game.
Yes.
It's just that self-imposed challenge that this is just stupid.
Yeah, the only other Armored Core game I ever even thought about playing was 5, but then I found out that the 360 version is not backwards compatible, so I gave that up.
Never played.
Alex, can your PC run Helldivers 2? If it should, you should think about getting it, bud.
I'm going to. It's $60 though.
No, it's 40.
Well, 40 is still too much for me right now. You want to buy it for me?
I've actually thought about buying it for a couple of my friends. I don't know. I'll think about it, because it's.
I will play it.
Fun.
I've been wanting to.
It's fun.
But I can't justify that means.
Let's go ahead and wrap this up. Maybe Friday we can jump back on, because I still have topics I really wanted to talk about, like Plucky Squire. I really wanted to get into that and a few other things. So yeah, definitely appreciate you guys coming on. You guys don't have YouTube channels, so I don't have to worry about plugging anything. So.
Yeah, no. No, I miss doing these, so I'll definitely hop on.
Yeah, we got the classic
Yeah,
crew
this was,
back.
this
Yeah.
was a lot of fun.
We just need to somehow find a consistent way to get Dennis on, and
Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta do it at night.
the two Michaels, they're busy. They're usually very busy. So
I haven't they haven't commented in the group chat in forever.
yeah, Mike, black long haired Michael. He comes in usually when you're talking about diets and Bloodborne,
I call him
Yeah.
Metal Michael.
and
And then the one with glasses.
he's always getting banned or something like that.
Oh.
And I don't know. I guess we weren't really entertaining his topics very much because sometimes he would just come up with some topics where I'm like, that doesn't make any sense, or it was very shallow, and I would whenever I would respond to it, I think sometimes I would just scare him off.
I have a hard time keeping up with it sometimes because then I'll see like those topics. I'm like,
Well, I'm a stay-at-home dad, and so I'm home all the time. So there's lots of times I'm spamming the chat with shit all day.
yeah. I enjoy looking at our little AI generated moments though.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's such a fun. I got to use
Yeah, I still have
Blake's image for one of my live streams because I think that people are really drawn to. Like I use the AI generated image of Melania, and I put it on a live stream of me fighting Melania, and it seems to be drawing in some people.
I will say the one AI generated thing I did use for content was that I used my album cover for my SoundCloud is an AI generated picture, but I just thought that it hit every symbolic note that I wanted perfectly. So
That's all that matters.
yeah, it's better than fucking hiring some guy to charge me $40 to make artwork that I don't even know if I'll like.
Right.
So it was pretty good. Sometimes AI is nice when it's like an ability you can't use and you don't exploit it. But like it's a lot of fun for sure. Using it for like a picture is perfect, I feel.
All right, well, we'll go ahead and stop it here, and I gotta make some salmon patties.
I'm gonna make bean and cheese burritos.
Nice.
I got chicken thine, and I'm about to marinate that in some mesquite, and then I'm gonna put some golden barbecue sauce over it. Yeah,
Mustardy.
I also got some rub from Spiceology. So
You rub that meat.
Ooh,
Rub that
Spiceology.
meat.
All right. Well, end it here, and I appreciate the conversations, and I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
Good night.